Chapter 3354. After all the communication between the artists was settled, the meeting finally came to an end. Ruan Qingshuang was in charge of all the arrangements for foreign artists to stay in China. Although Ruan Qingshuang was the vice president of Sky Entertainment Corporation, she admired all the artists who worked hard. Although Zhuo Meiyan had reminded her that she didn't need to be too polite and that she had to act like a president, she still insisted on doing things her own way. Because of Ruan Qingshuang's insistence, many of the artists under Sky Entertainment Group respected Ruan Qingshuang very much. Most of them would complete the tasks assigned by Ruan Qingshuang very carefully. Therefore, Ruan Qingshuang always felt that her way of doing things was right. Today, Ruan Qingshuang was just as polite to the artists who had been sent to Huaxia by the foreign film and entertainment companies. Zhuo Meiyan made it very clear that since these artists had been sent to Huaxia, they were here to learn from the experience, not to enjoy themselves and make money. Ruan Qingshuang thought that since they were guests, it was necessary to organize a simple dinner party for them. Both of them had their reasons. In the end, they decided to let Ruan Qingshuang handle the dinner party, and Zhuo Meiyan wouldn't show up. It was already a great honor for one of them to show up. As for Ruan Qingshuang's invitation to the dinner party, the 15 artists who had received the invitation were all very honored. These artists from many other countries in Asia felt that Sky Entertainment Group valued them, so they were naturally very happy. The dinner party was prepared at Sky Entertainment Hotel because the artists who had stayed were also arranged to stay in Sky Entertainment Group's own hotels. However, in the end, there were still some people who didn't accept the hotel's conditions. Although Sky Entertainment Hotel was a 5-star hotel, these artists weren't given the highest level of presidential suites. However, the average suite in Sky Entertainment Hotel was already very high class. The artists who didn't accept the hotel's conditions probably thought that with their status, they should stay in the best suite, so they actually stubbornly moved out of Sky Entertainment Hotel on the same day. He went to another 5-star hotel and checked into the highest class presidential suite. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. The news of this matter was quickly leaked out. Because the artist who moved away was Kim Hanbang, the captain of MLGB, the most popular idol group in Korea. As the captain of a super popular idol group, Kim Hanbang's popularity naturally soared. With just a handsome and sunny little face, he could attract countless fans. With a bright and harmless smile on his face, although it would always be the same expression, there would be countless love-struck fans screaming crazily for these fake faces. As soon as the Jin Han stick appeared in another hotel, it immediately caused a sensation. The fans crazily surrounded the hotel, and the police were directly called to maintain order. Even the roads beside the hotel were unlucky. There was a traffic jam. Some die-hard fans were not afraid of being fined or having their points deducted just to see Kim Korean oppa. Even if it affected the traffic, they would just stop their cars and occupy the lane to lick oppa's boots. After one person put it into practice, many people who didn't have a place to park followed suit. The traffic on the entire road was soon paralyzed, and the speed of the spread was very fast. In this regard, Kim Hanbang, who was sitting in a lounge chair next to the presidential suite's floor-to-ceiling window, was full of disdain. His agent, Song Jiji, looked downstairs worriedly and said in a nervous voice, "Hanbang, will we be disliked by the Sky Entertainment Group?" Disliked? Kim Hanbang disdainfully rolled his eyes at Song Jiji. Do they dare to be disliked? Who am I? Tell me loudly who I am. You are Kim. Kim Hanbang, Song Jiji said. Yes, I am Kim Hanbang. I am the captain of the most popular MLGB group in Asia now, Kim Hanbang. Kim Hanbang was very proud. So what if the fans cause a traffic jam just to see me? If I have something urgent, I can find an advertiser to arrange a helicopter to pick me up in minutes. Song Jiji sighed helplessly. Since his works became popular in Huaxia, Kim Hanbang's tone became more and more arrogant. This was not surprising. It was the advertiser's fault for spoiling him. For example, Kim Hanbang's endorsement fee was at least 1 billion Korean won. That was 6 million RMB. This kind of endorsement was just a photo shoot. Some people dared to ask for this kind of money without even saying anything. Moreover, when Kim Hanbang represented Huaxia, he did not consider whether the brand was a conscientious one. Even if it was a black-hearted company, as long as enough money was paid, it was nothing more than signing a contract, taking a few photos and a few videos. How could a person who could make so much money in minutes not be arrogant? I know our status is different, but after all, we are in Huaxia. Shouldn't we at least give some face to the Sky Entertainment Group? Song Jiji said awkwardly. Jin Hanbang pointed at the bar counter and said, "Is my 1982 La Fight awake yet? If so, pour me a drink." It was not easy for Song Jiji to manage a superstar agent. He worked like a horse. Kim Hanbang yelled at him whenever he was unhappy. He even threw a chair at him, but he endured it for the sake of his job. While Song Jiji was pouring the drink, Kim Hanbang said again, "You saw the artists from those countries today, right? What are their grades?" After the drink was poured, Song Jiji hurriedly brought it over. "They are all trash, so they think that the Sky Entertainment Group will give them a platform to attract some fans and make some money." Kim Hanbang took the glass and shook it. "The only one who has some capital is Park Sung-joon from Korea. But compared to me, he is nothing. He is nothing. How many fans do I have in Huaxia? Tens of millions. He only has a few million. He doesn't even deserve to carry my shoes." The strong sense of arrogance made Kim Hanbang very unhappy. He drank the wine in one gulp and gestured for Song Jiji to continue pouring him more. When he found out that his management company wanted him to stay in Huaxia to study at the Sky Entertainment Group, he was very unhappy. Although the Sky Entertainment Group promised to give him enough exposure, he was still not satisfied. He felt that the exposure was unfair to him because he was more famous than the others. More importantly, the Sky Entertainment Group promised to help him find brand endorsements, but these endorsements had to go through the Sky Entertainment Group's review. If it was to sell fake medicine, unhygienic food, or fake cosmetics, they would reject it, no matter how much money they offered. They would only agree to endorsements that were reliable. No matter what, it was for their reputation. If something went wrong with the endorsements, it would affect the endorsements themselves. They could endorse products that were healthier after washing, but if the product was said to be healthier after washing, but in reality, washing had no effect, they would definitely not endorse it. Those endorsements of Japan's SK2 skin tightening and anti-wrinkle essence should be banned. That was the heavenly water that had been found to contain illegal ingredients. Moreover, the cost was only 6 renminbi, and the profit was 600 renminbi. That was too much of a scam to Huaxia's consumers. The artists under the Sky Entertainment Group were only allowed to endorse products that were honest, like China's Dabao. The other unhonest ones were not considered. It was worse than charging for 2 hours and talking for 5 minutes. At least 2 hours of charging would cost a bit of electricity, and the stuff used on the face was something that could make people dependent on it. This would limit Kim Hanbang's ability to earn more endorsements. Just this alone was too much for him. Therefore, this opportunity to stay in the Sky Entertainment Group to learn was harmful to Kim Hanbang. He did not know the good intentions of the company. The company hoped that he could learn how to stay popular for a long time. They did not want him to be popular this year and disappear after 2 or 3 years. These kinds of artists who disappeared after 2 years were everywhere in Korea. If you randomly picked 5 people on the street, it was guaranteed that at least one of them used to be an artist. Being an artist in Korea was a way out. So many people had this dream. For example, people in Thailand all thought that being an engineer was a way out, so they all tried their best to become an engineer. Their dream was to become an engineer and then live in the United States. Many people in Korea dreamed of being trainees. No matter what method they used, they had to find a way to debut. Then, they would have a chance to become famous and then go to Huaxia to earn some money and enjoy their dream in China. Kim Hanbang did not believe that he was like those people, a flash in the pan. He felt that he was handsome enough to make his fans follow him until the end of time. He never thought that his fans would give up on him next year and like Han Jinbang or Jinbang Han. Chapter 3355. Song Jiji gave Jin Hanbang another glass of red wine and said, "Don't drink anymore. You have to attend the banquet of Mr. Ruan of Tianyu Group." "Attend the banquet?" Look at the traffic. How can I go there? It's not that I don't want to go, but the traffic in Huaxia is too bad. I can't go at all. Jin Hanbang said unhappily. Is it my fault? It's their fault for having too many brainless fans here. My great ancestor. You can't talk about this. Song Jiji's heart almost jumped out of his chest. If your words are heard by others, you can't stay in Huaxia anymore. There's only you and me here. Who can spread it? Jin Hanbang sneered. Unless you spread it, no one will know. I'm not a madman. Of course, I won't spread it. Song Jiji said hurriedly. Jin Hanbang suddenly laughed. Yes, you're not a madman, and you're not a fool. Every penny you have is given by me. If it weren't for me today, would you be able to afford a Mercedes-Benz? Would you be able to eat kimchi and instant noodles for every meal? Would you be able to eat Korean beef every day? Well, stop talking. Let's think of a way to solve the problem now. Song Jiji was really helpless. If it weren't for the fact that this popular artist could bring him more money and a higher status as an agent, he wouldn't swallow his anger like this. I'll think of a way to solve it. Let them go to hell. Jin Hanbang said. I'm serious about this problem. We have to let the fans disperse as soon as possible. Song Jiji said, or you can post on Weibo to let them know. Give it a try. Just say that you're troubled and I hope they can understand. Let them go first. You'll find a chance to meet them and then explain. Jin Hanbang waved to Song Jiji. I'll tell you a simpler solution. What's the solution? Song Jiji was stunned. Go and get me a box of grenades. I'll open them one by one and throw them down. After a few explosions, it will be quiet. Jin Hanbang laughed. You're still in the mood to joke at a time like this? Also, don't laugh like that. The doctor said that I can't overuse my facial expressions for the next 6 months. Although the epidermis has healed, the internal tissue system is still recovering. If I overuse it, it will easily affect the effect of the plastic surgery and even lead to infection. The smile on Jin Hanbang's face stiffened. Don't talk about this in the future. If I hear it again, you'll get the hell out of here. Song Jiji knew that he had said the wrong thing because of his impatience. He quickly admitted his mistake. I'm doing this for your own good. Shut up for my own good. I just want to drink quietly. Jin Hanbang said, Sky Entertainment Group will find a way to deal with those people. It has nothing to do with me. Song Jiji was really helpless. After Jin Han became popular, he became more and more willful every day. Now that Jin Hanbang had made up his mind, there was no way he could convince him otherwise. Jin Hanbang ignored Song Jiji's reminder and drank the red wine. A bottle of red wine was not enough for him. He didn't take the dinner seriously at all, so he drank without scruples. The news that Jin Hanbang moved out of the hotel and caused a traffic jam quickly spread to Ruan Qingshuang's ears. The relevant departments all called for help, hoping that Sky Entertainment Group could help them solve the traffic jam. Because the towed cars couldn't get out, it was impossible to tow the illegally parked cars away. Ruan Qingshuang also worked quickly. Under the coordination of the various departments, she tried her best to help the comrades in the traffic department. But she also knew that the most effective way was to let Jin Hanbang personally explain to the fans. That was the fastest way to solve the traffic jam. So Ruan Qingshuang immediately arranged for someone to call Song Jiji. However, Song Jiji hesitated and couldn't explain clearly. In the end, the phone was handed to Ruan Qingshuang. As the vice president of Sky Entertainment Group, she should be able to solve the problem personally. Song Jiji didn't know what to do when he heard that Ruan Qingshuang answered the phone in person. Hello, Assistant Song, could you please let Jin Hanbang answer the phone? Ruan Qingshuang was very polite at first. Sorry, Miss Ruan, Bang Bang is a little tired today, so she went to rest as soon as she returned to the hotel. Song Jiji explained. Then I want to ask, since I have prepared a room for you in Sky Entertainment Hotel, why did you move to another hotel? Did we neglect you? Ruan Qingshuang said, if you did, you can tell us. We will pay attention to it. But isn't it a bit unruly for you to do this? Miss Ruan, I'm really sorry. Sky Entertainment Group really didn't neglect you. It's just that Bang Bang is not feeling well. Song Gigi could only talk nonsense. Ruan Qingxuang held back her anger and tried to persuade her patiently. Since you're not feeling well, you shouldn't go out. Stay at the Sky Entertainment Hotel. If you have any problems, I can contact the doctor as soon as possible. No, Miss Ruan, we can solve it ourselves. Song Gigi said. You can solve it yourself, but now I heard that the traffic situation there is not ideal. Ruan Qingxuang said, I hope Jin Hanbang can stand up and do something he should do. Song Gigi hurriedly said, Of course. Miss Ruan, if you need us to do anything, just tell us. We will do our best to cooperate. Thank you for your understanding. Ruan Qingxuang said, I just need Jin Hanbang to go downstairs of the hotel and say that he will hold a fan meeting in Sky Entertainment Group tomorrow afternoon. But today, he needs all the fans' cooperation to evacuate the traffic as soon as possible and let the traffic return to normal. He doesn't want this to happen because of him. He hopes the fans can support him. Okay. I'll let him say it himself. Song Gigi promised Ruan Qingxuang without any hesitation. Then I'll have to trouble you. Ruan Qingxuang hung up the phone, expecting good news. Song Gigi wanted to refuse before, but Ruan Qingxuang personally called him, so he had to give face. After hanging up the phone, Song Gigi hurriedly went to find Jin Hanbang, but Jin Hanbang, this bastard, drank a whole bottle of red wine and was lying in bed, sleeping. No matter how softly Song Gigi called him, Jin Hanbang didn't seem to have any consciousness. Song Gigi had seen Jin Hanbang's temper when he woke up. Last time, because he forced him to wake up, he was almost blinded by Jin Hanbang's mobile phone. Because of this, Song Gigi didn't dare to wake Jin Hanbang up easily. Helplessly, Song Gigi could only go downstairs and borrow the hotel's loudspeaker. Then he told the fans what Ruan Qingxuang said. Although the fans were a little disappointed, they heard that their idol was going to hold a meeting, and it was tomorrow afternoon. That was also a better way to make up for it. Finally, through the traffic congestion and the cooperation of the fans, the traffic congestion was completely solved in 2 hours. Because of this, the hotel went crazy. After all, he wasn't the only one who lived in this hotel. There were many other guests. Those who could afford to live in a 5-star hotel were people with a little status. Even if they didn't have a little status, they had a little money. Who would be willing to suffer this kind of anger? Moreover, these kinds of people wouldn't chase after idols. They didn't have the time or the leisure to do so. They would rather spend some effort and money on female students than take a look at some bullshit tea idol news. Because of a Korean bang, they were delayed for 3 hours and couldn't get in and out. Naturally, there were many complaints from the guests. But the culprit of all this was still sleeping in the room. He didn't feel that he had caused any trouble at all. For Jin Hanbang, as long as he felt comfortable in his heart, he didn't care about others. In his eyes, other people were nothing. Only he was a superstar. So whatever he did was right. It didn't matter if others sacrificed anything for him. In Jin Hanbang's heart, he had always thought this way. That was why he could sleep so comfortably at this time. Song Gigi was both angry and helpless at the same time. He watched as time passed. The banquet invited by Ruan Qingxuang, the vice president of Sky Entertainment Group, was about to start. Jin Hanbang was still asleep. Song Gigi had no choice but to brace himself and wake him up. Chapter 3356. Ruan Qingxuang's invitation was an honor and an opportunity for all the artists who stayed in Sky Entertainment Group to study. Therefore, everyone arrived at the banquet hall of Sky Entertainment Hotel more than 10 minutes in advance. Because they were staying in Sky Entertainment Hotel, they only needed to dress up. They didn't need to waste any time on the road. The only person who didn't show up was Jin Hanbang, and everyone saw that. After all, Jin Hanbang was the most famous one among all the people who came today. Especially because he had just become popular in a TV series. Hua Xia's crazy fans kept calling him their husband. They even forgot about Professor Du and Captain Lu. Therefore, everyone knew that Jin Hanbang was the most popular one among all of them. He had the ability to beat them in terms of attracting fans. Because of this, they all felt ashamed and didn't dare to compare themselves with Jin Hanbang. Therefore, no one was particularly surprised that Jin Hanbang didn't show up. However, as the organizer, Ruan Qingshuang was obviously displeased. Jin Hanbang's moving out was disorderly enough, and the traffic jam made Ruan Qingshuang even angrier. Now, he was late for the banquet. It was simply outrageous. Therefore, Ruan Qingshuang didn't want to wait for him. She directly went to Bai Xiaoye and asked her to arrange for the banquet to start. As for Jin Hanbang, there was no need to wait. Of course, Ruan Qingshuang still arranged for someone to call Jin Hanbang's assistant, Song Jiji, and tell him that the banquet was about to start. She hoped that Jin Hanbang could arrive on time. Song Jiji could only agree. Then he went to Jin Hanbang's room and raised his voice. The banquet is about to start. If you don't go now, you'll definitely annoy Ms. Ruan. If we want to live comfortably in Huaxia for a few days, we'd better not ruin our relationship with Sky Entertainment Group, right? Hearing this, Jin Hanbang opened his eyes. What time is it now? It doesn't matter what time it is. The banquet will start in 5 minutes. Song Jiji said helplessly, if we stayed in Sky Entertainment Hotel, we could barely make it in 5 minutes. But now it will take us at least 10 minutes to drive there. Hearing that, Jin Hanbang closed his eyes again. My great ancestor, I'm begging you, please get up quickly. Song Jiji wanted to cry. Since I'm going to be late no matter what, it doesn't matter. Jin Hanbang said, there's no difference between being late for 5 minutes and being late for an hour. You're both late. If I went there, I could say that I was stuck in a traffic jam. Blame it on the traffic in Huaxia. Song Jiji really didn't know what to do with him. Then let's hurry up. Get up quickly. Let's go over quickly. Jin Hanbang nodded. Okay, I'll take a shower. Tell the stylist and makeup artist to get ready. When Song Jiji heard that he was going to take a bath, he felt a headache coming. However, Jin Hanbang wasn't joking at all. Just like that, he worked for another hour. By the time Song Jiji arrived at the Sky Entertainment Hotel with the Jinhanbang, the banquet had already been going on for an hour and a half. When Bai Xiaoye saw the big shot Jin Hanbang, she smiled and told him, sorry, the banquet has already started. Please go back. Song Jiji was stunned. We were invited by your Mr. Ruan. There was an accident on the way here, so we were late. Please don't mind. But everyone lives here. Why would you encounter an accident outside? Bai Xiaoye smiled. So, I can only say that I'm sorry. Do you know who I am? Jin Hanbang didn't think much of it. He looked at Bai Xiaoye with his usual smile. Bai Xiaoye shrugged. Let me think about it. Do you still need to think? Jin Hanbang didn't think much of it. I'm the most popular person in Asia. Don't you know me? Usually, people who are really popular never say that they're popular. Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes at Jin Hanbang. When did the $5 billion movie king of Huaxia say that he's popular? But no one knows who he is. Even a 70-year-old auntie can say his name. Other than the young love-struck fool, not many people know who he is, right? Hearing Bai Xiaoye's words, Jin Hanbang's expression changed instantly. He suddenly took out the car key from his pocket and waved it at Bai Xiaoye. Do you see what this is? Isn't it just an Aston Martin? What's wrong? Bai Xiaoye still didn't give Jin Hanbang any face. Have you never seen a Bugatti before? Have you never seen a Koenigsegg? Have you never seen a Pagani? Do you think a sports car worth a few million yuan is very powerful? The car key in Jin Hanbang's hand was worth more than 3 million yuan, but Bai Xiaoye didn't give him any face at all. This was a huge blow to Jin Hanbang. He didn't believe that a hotel staff could be so knowledgeable. Superstar, this kind of car is very common in Huaxia. What's so strange about it? Bai Xiaoye said, usually, people with some money have a few cars. This car worth more than 3 million yuan is just an entry-level sports car, right? Jin Hanbang felt like a fishbone was stuck in his throat. He couldn't say anything for a long time. He was completely mad. Who do you think you are? Jin Hanbang came back to his senses and glared at Bai Xiaoye. I don't even like to go to the suites your boss booked in the hotel. People like you don't even have a chance to stay in those suites in your lifetime. No matter how few people know about me, there are still more people who know about you. Sigh. I didn't expect you to have a fragile heart. Bai Xiaoye was speechless again. She didn't even look at Jin Hanbang. I really don't know how people with fragile hearts become popular. It completely goes against scientific principles. You. Jin Hanbang was furious. If Song Jiji hadn't stopped him in time, Jin Hanbang wouldn't have cared if the person opposite him was a beauty. He wouldn't be polite to anyone who dared to look down on him. Anyway, he always felt that he had 6 billion fans in his heart. Even if he really hit a girl in the hotel, his 6 billion brainless fans would help him clear his name and say that the girl deserved a beating. They would never say anything bad about him. It was because of this mentality that Jin Hanbang had such a fragile heart. Bai Xiaoye only said a few words, and he was already angry. Bai Xiaoye looked at Jin Hanbang with disdain. You should really thank your manager. If he hadn't stopped you in time, you wouldn't even know how you died. Jin Hanbang's face was twisted. I will definitely make you regret what you said today. Maybe the one who will regret it is not me, but you. Bai Xiaoye wasn't in the mood to argue with him. I advise you to go back and rest. You're almost done with the banquet. Jin Hanbang didn't care about anything else and directly barged in. Song Jiji quickly followed behind him. Bai Xiaoye didn't stop him. For a guy with such a low EQ, it would be a waste of her breath to say anything more. Perhaps because of his anger, Jin Hanbang came to the banquet hall and wanted to break in without knocking on the door. Fortunately, Song Jiji stopped him in time. With the help of the waiters and other artists' agents, Song Jiji controlled Jin Hanbang. However, at this time, the people in the banquet hall had already heard some strange noises outside. Song Jiji carefully knocked on the door of the banquet hall. He pushed it open slightly and stuck his head in embarrassedly. Seeing Ruan Qingshuang and everyone else looking at him, he bowed and apologized. Ms. Ruan, something happened on the way here. That's why we're late. Let him in. Ruan Qingshuang didn't want to hear any excuses. Although her words were cold, she didn't mean to make things difficult for him. Jin Hanbang's heart immediately swelled. He knew that no matter what, he was the most popular person here. So what if he was a senior executive of Sky Entertainment Group? Even if the most important person of Sky Entertainment Group was here, he wouldn't be afraid. Jin Hanbang walked into the banquet hall confidently and signaled Song Jiji to close the door and wait outside. All the other artists were stunned as they watched Jin Hanbang walk step by step to Ruan Qingshuang's side. Before Ruan Qingshuang could say anything, Jin Hanbang snorted at another Korean artist sitting next to Ruan Qingshuang. Humph. Senior couldn't make it in time because he had something to do. As a junior, shouldn't you save a seat for him? Now, there was only one seat left at the most remote position at the entrance of the banquet table. Everyone was sitting there, and all eyes were focused on Park Songbang. Chapter 3357. Under everyone's gaze, Park Sung-bang stood up awkwardly. He glanced at Jin Hanbang and lowered his head. He really didn't expect Jin Hanbang to suddenly appear again. I'm sorry, senior. I thought you wouldn't come. You thought? Jin Hanbang stared at him. There are so many things you thought. Why didn't you think I would come and sit next to Miss Ruan? Then please sit. Park Sung-bang was really embarrassed. In Korea, this kind of artist was very valued. The senior who debuted early and became popular was fully qualified to teach the one who debuted late. Especially to teach the younger generation who was not as popular as himself, they were really good at it. I sit. Look at the person in front of you who has eaten. How can I sit? Jin Hanbang was very unhappy. Ruan Qingxuang finally couldn't help but say, "There is an empty seat over there. No one has sat there. You can sit over there." Jin Hanbang didn't expect that Ruan Qingxuang would say so. He turned his head and showed his eternal smile. "Miss Ruan, I am Jin Hanbang. Of course I know you are Jin Hanbang. If you were at the level of Zhou Yicheng and Bo Guochao Wei, wouldn't you come here today to flip the table?" Ruan Qingxuang said, "Today here, there is no distinction of identity. Everyone is a friend. I don't think I am less popular than Zhou Yicheng now." Jin Hanbang suddenly said such a sentence. "You are really confident. Do you know that Mr. Xing directly used a newcomer to play the female lead in a movie and the box office can be 3 billion yuan? Ruan Qingxuang said coldly, "How much box office can a movie get in Huaxia with your fame?" "At least 6 billion yuan. Jin Hanbang said disapprovingly. Ruan Qingxuang heard this and couldn't even laugh. "You'd better sit down first and continue to dream." Jin Hanbang didn't feel any irony. Instead, he really sat down with a smile. Although the seat was remote, he believed that he could still be the focus. However, after Jin Hanbang sat down, he didn't give him any food. "I know that some of you here today are already very outstanding. You have your own fan groups and your own abilities. However, I hope that you won't treat these things as capital that you can squander for the rest of your life," Ruan Qingxuang said calmly. Everyone knew that he was talking about the Jin Han stick. When Jin Hanbang heard this, he sneered in his heart. Even if they were talking about him, they were treating him as the focus of attention. "I don't know what's the best way to treat everyone, but I believe that Sky Entertainment Group won't mistreat anyone," Ruan Qingxuang said. "Mr. Ruan, I'm not looking down on Sky Entertainment Hotel's rooms. I just feel that with my status, it's beneath me to be like them." Jin Hanbang actually made it clear in front of everyone. This unceremonious humiliation really made the other people lose face. Ruan Qingxuang didn't expect Jin Hanbang to be so blunt. His EQ was really unparalleled. No wonder he could do something that caused the fans to jam the traffic and ignore it. "Okay. I won't discuss the room with you. If you think you're better than others, you can do whatever you want." Ruan Qingxuang tried to calm himself down, "But there's one thing I have to remind you. Don't cause the fans to gather and affect the normal social order because of your carelessness. If you accidentally cause trouble, think of a way to solve it immediately." Jin Hanbang was happy when he heard this. "Mr. Ruan, this only means that I have too many fans and they're too crazy. I hope you don't mind. I know what happened today. I've also thought of a way to deal with it for you." Ruan Qingxuang said, "In order to keep the traffic running normally, Sky Entertainment Group will help you prepare a venue for a fan meeting tomorrow." Who agreed? Jin Hanbang was a little surprised when he heard this news. "I've already talked to your agent," Ruan Qingxuang said. Jin Hanbang was not happy at all. "Mr. Ruan, do I just casually hold a fan meeting like this? Do you know how many sponsors I'll get if the news of my fan meeting gets out? Clothes, drinks, jewelry, everything. Have you calculated how much I'll lose by casually holding a fan meeting like this? You're an artist. Fans are your parents. Without them, you wouldn't have what you have today." Ruan Qingxuang said, "Even the fan meeting has become a means for you to make money. Don't you think you've gone too far?" Mr. Ruan, it's not that I want to do this. Many sponsors want me to give them a chance." Jin Hanbang said, "Moreover, this fan meeting was originally planned without my knowledge. I have the right to choose not to go." "You don't have the right." Ruan Qingxuang said, "This is what you owe to your fans." "I owe my fans? Ha ha ha. Mr. Ruan, this is too much of a joke. How can I owe them? They all volunteered. I didn't ask them to cause traffic congestion." Ruan Qingxuang was really speechless about Jin Hanbang. He really didn't understand how such a person could be supported. It was simply unreasonable. "Anyway, it's a foregone conclusion. You have to finish it," Ruan Qingxuang said seriously. "Whether you like it or not, without the support of your fans, you won't have today's achievements. So it's not too much to ask you to hold a fan meeting to thank them, right? If I don't feel comfortable, I definitely won't go. Jean Hanbang insisted, Mr. Wan, although I was put here by the company, I don't have a contract with you. I don't need to do what you ask me to do. Ruan Qingxuang really couldn't stand this guy. Then why do you stay in Huaxia? Didn't I say it? Because of the contract. Jean Hanbang said, the contract requires me to listen to the company, so I stay here. But the contract doesn't require me to listen to your arrangement. Mr. Wan, you should be very clear about my influence. Why do you want to make trouble for yourself? Then what do you want? Ruan Qingxuang said, give me an answer. I don't want these useless people here to make money by being with me. Because I'm not at the same level as them. Jean Hanbang was very serious. If Sky Entertainment Group can come up with different marketing methods that are beneficial to me, I'll naturally cooperate. But if they only use these methods to package me, I definitely won't accept it. Ruan Qingxuang took a deep breath. Then you can leave. I won't leave before my company allows me to. Jean Hanbang said seriously, Mr. Wan, you can't unilaterally break the contract, right? I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Tomorrow is the fan meeting. You have to be there. Ruan Qingxuang was no longer in the mood. She had been in a good mood just now because of this guy. Ruan Qingxuang stood up directly and said to the others, everyone, go back to rest. Tomorrow, the person in charge will arrange everything for you in Huaxia. I want someone to solve my problem alone, right? Jean Hanbang smiled, Mr. Wan, why don't you take me in person? Ruan Qingxuang did not pay any attention to this fellow. She turned around and left. Jean Hanbang didn't seem to feel Ruan Qingxuang's anger at all. He thought too much of himself. He thought that he could do whatever he wanted here. Even the boss of Sky Entertainment Group wanted him to stay here to help the company gain popularity. That was why he had been so arrogant, even too arrogant. A guy who had been completely arrogant to the limit would soon meet someone who could make him cry. And the person who could make him cry was still on the way back to Qingdao. Ruan Qingxuang left the banquet hall, leaving a group of people at a loss. Everyone looked at this popular Jean Hanbang nervously. No one even dared to speak. Everyone was afraid of getting into trouble. A person who even dared to talk back to Mr. Ruan was really terrible. Jean Hanbang also looked coldly at the others with a fake smile and said disdainfully, as an artist, not everyone can be popular. Many people may not have the possibility of being popular in their whole life, so it is very important to know yourself. In silence, Jean Hanbang also stood up. Before leaving, he turned back and said, you will never reach the height that I have in your whole life. When Jean Hanbang left, the others breathed a sigh of relief. More and more eyes fell on Park Sung-gun. They seemed to pity this person. He obviously had a very powerful senior, but he couldn't get any help. More often than not, he was pushed aside and suppressed. Chapter 3358. After Ruan Qingxuang came out, Bai Xiaoye went up to her with a smile. Sister Qingxuang, are you angry with that arrogant and narcissistic guy? I've never seen such an arrogant person, Ruan Qingxuang said. He's so unreasonable. He's really a weirdo. Every word, action, and performance is so pretentious. It's as if he wants to write, I'm very popular, on his forehead. Bai Xiaoye couldn't stop smiling. Sister, don't take him seriously. It's not worth getting angry at him. Ruan Qingxuang shook her head helplessly. Korea doesn't lack celebrities like him, but the proportion of them who can be recognized and persevered is very small. If he continues to develop like this, he will only be a shooting star that flashes by. People like him who have the halo of I'm very popular are usually frogs at the bottom of a well, Bai Xiaoye said bluntly. Who has seen Jackie Chan say that he's very popular everywhere? Who has seen Leonard say that he's very popular? Who has seen Tom Cruise say that he's very popular? I don't think so. Ruan Qingxuang thought for a while and realized that it was true. The more popular a person was internationally, the less high profile he or she would be. The more popular a person was, the more he or she would feel good about himself or herself. It was just like the directors in the domestic film industry. The more famous the director was, the less troublesome he or she was on set. Even if the director wanted to point out the shortcomings of an actor's performance, he or she would only talk to the actor or actress in a low voice without putting on airs. On the other hand, those low-class directors who could only shoot lousy commercials liked to make threatening gestures and exaggeratedly put on a supreme status. They blindly commanded on the set and used a megaphone to point out that something was not right. It was as if they would not show their existence if they did not find fault with it. Jin Honbang was a typical example of this. He was famous in the field of stage singing and dancing, so he naturally thought that he was famous in any circle. He had the same mentality as those lousy commercials directors. Anyway, this person needs someone to teach him how to be an artist, Ruan Qingshuang said. Otherwise, he won't be able to sink at all. How about this, Big Sister Frost? I'll act as an artist's manager for a few days. Let me teach this clown a lesson. Bai Xiaoye was unhappy with him. You? Ruan Qingshuang was stunned. Can you stand his anger? Bai Xiaoye smiled. If I can't handle his temper, I'll slap him. If our artist manager gets angry at him, he won't even have a place to vent his anger. We can't let him bully our people like this. If he can't anger me, I'll slowly teach him a lesson. Are you sure? Ruan Qingshuang could only agree to Bai Xiaoye's request. Then I'll leave it to you. Bai Xiaoye nodded and promised, Don't worry. At this time, Jin Honbang also came out. When he saw Ruan Qingshuang and Bai Xiaoye chatting, he went up to greet them as if nothing had happened. However, Ruan Qingshuang did not care about Jin Honbang at all. She only said to Bai Xiaoye, he must attend the fan meeting tomorrow. After that, Ruan Qingshuang left without looking back. Jin Honbang didn't understand what Ruan Qingshuang meant. How could a hotel waiter order him around? From now on, I'm the artist manager of Hua Xia. I'll arrange your schedule, and your personal manager must cooperate with me. Bai Xiaoye didn't hold back. You can choose to stay here tonight, or you can choose to go back to the hotel you booked. Nonsense. Of course I'll go back. But Bai Xiaoye changed the topic. If you go back to the hotel you chose, I can't guarantee that you won't be disturbed. Jin Honbang sneered. Are you trying to scare me? I didn't mean that. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. Do you think a hotel service can scare me? Jin Honbang said with disdain. Do you know how many bodyguards I brought? Do you want me to tell you? Bai Xiaoye looked at Jin Honbang exaggeratedly. Wow, you have bodyguards. You're so good. Humph. Jin Honbang said with disdain. Do you think someone of my status will come out alone? I just don't want people to see me being too high profile. That's why I didn't let my bodyguards follow me closely. Bai Xiaoye didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're not high profile? Jin Honbang and his bodyguards were all in a car, which was waiting outside the hotel. This was because Sky Entertainment Group had a strict rule on the number of attendants they could bring with them. Furthermore, they could only allow their manager to tag along at any of Sky Entertainment Group's events. They couldn't bring a bunch of people with them. This was the agreement between Sky Entertainment Group and all foreign entertainment companies. If Jin Honbang violated this agreement, he would face a huge fine. Although he was famous and rich, the huge fine from Sky Entertainment Group was still an astronomical figure for him. Zhua Meiyan signed this agreement to prevent celebrities from acting like big shots. This was especially the case when Korean artists acted like they were big shots. Once they made money, they would soar into the sky. After all, there was a precedent. A Korean artist who came to China to earn money actually brought 20 bodyguards with him. No matter where he went, it would affect the normal order. Obviously, Zhua Meiyan's agreement was very effective in solving this problem. That was why Jin Honbang's bodyguards were waiting outside. Then your bodyguards must be very good, right? Bai Xiaoye said. Then I'm relieved. I was afraid that some crazy fans would be too enthusiastic and disturb you at the hotel in the middle of the night. You're thinking too much. My bodyguards aren't ordinary people. Jin Hanbang said, my bodyguards are all elites in our country's fighting world. Some of them are even champions. Aya, your country's fighting world's champions are all following you. Bai Xiaoye said, it's different in our country. Our country's champions don't need to follow others. It seems that other than supporting a few celebrities and sending them to Huaxia to earn money, it's hard for your country to survive in other industries. The corner of Jin Hanbang's mouth twitched a few times. Faced with Bai Xiaoye's doubts, he was very unhappy. As long as the Grand Han has me, I'll be able to feed the entire country, Kim Hanbang boasted shamelessly. However, behind his shameless boasting, there was a problem. Nowadays, Korean celebrities came to China to earn money more and more straightforwardly and simply. Even if the words, I'm here to scam money, were written on their faces, there would still be people willing to pay for them. In order to expand the influence of their products, sponsors would rather throw money at these Korean celebrities. In fact, these sponsors were really too stubborn. They only knew how to play this card. For example, a mobile phone manufacturer would spend 70 out of every 100 yuan on celebrities or sponsors. He would only get 30% of the profits and temporary fame. But what if he spent 50 out of every $100 he earned on charity and Project Hope? That would be a huge sum of money, and it would be remembered by the whole nation. Not only would he be able to earn 20 more than $30, but he would also gain a lifetime of fame. Unfortunately, no one did that. The more advertisements there were, the more sponsorships there would be, and the more the service staff in the mobile phone store would desperately recommend the brand, the more profits there would be. Now that he thought about it, was the most profitable way to make money was to appear in the Happy Little Camp every day downwards, Sincerity Do Not Disturb, and all kinds of shows? Why couldn't Little Rice's internet business make more money than others? Little Rice's main goal was to build an offline network with novice users. These users usually didn't care about the phone specs and cost-performance ratio. They only cared about the endorsements of celebrities and the sponsorship of their favorite programs. Coupled with the high commission of the sales staff, it was natural that they would enthusiastically recommend the brand. Selling an O or V brand phone could earn hundreds of yuan, while selling other phones could only earn a dozen or so. This was also a method. Just as Jin Hanbang was bragging about his ability to make money, a person suddenly appeared at the entrance of the hotel. It was Su Yun, who had rushed back from Beijing. He wanted to give everyone a surprise, so he didn't inform anyone. But when he got home, no one was there. Of course, Ruan Qingshuang and Bai Xiaoye were busy. Although Zhuo Meiyan didn't participate, she asked Chou Yen to accompany her to the mall. She hadn't gone shopping in a long time, so of course, Chou Yen wouldn't refuse her request. Chapter 3359. Just like that, Su Yun went home empty-handed. When he went to the company, he bumped into Feng Ying, who was about to leave after working overtime. Only then did he hear about what happened today. Then, Su Yun went directly to Sky Entertainment Hotel. However, 1 minute before he arrived, Ruan Qingshuang had already driven away. She was tired from the day and only wanted to go home and rest. She perfectly brushed past Su Yun's car. After all, there were too many cars on the road. No one would pay attention to the cars on the other side. Especially at night, it was even harder to see clearly. It was normal to miss it. Fortunately, Bai Xiaoye was still there. At least one person saw Su Yun's surprise. Su Yun's efforts were not in vain. However, before Su Yun could speak, Bai Xiaoye suddenly walked toward him. She winked at him and said, "Didn't I say that I'm busy with work today and will get off work late? You don't have to come and pick me up. Hurry up and leave." Then, Bai Xiaoye pushed Su Yun out of the hotel. Su Yun was completely confused. Those who wanted to greet him were also glared at by Bai Xiaoye. Su Yun was pushed out of the hotel by Bai Xiaoye. He asked in confusion, "What do you mean by this?" "Brother, I'll explain to you later. You go home first." Bai Xiaoye said, "I want to teach this arrogant guy a lesson. If he sees that you recognize me and figure out my identity, it won't be fun. I just came back from home. There's no one at home. Soo-yun's face was full of confusion. What are you doing? Isn't that the member of the MLGB group that is quite popular in Korea right now? Yes, that's him. Bai Xiaoye nodded. Then I want to ask him who is so uncultured to give their group MLGB name. Soo-yun said, Isn't that insulting? Bai Xiaoye was speechless. That's Make Life Get Better, not the MLGB you're thinking of. Soo-yun said, Oh, so it means to make life better. This is quite deceptive. After becoming popular, coming to Huaxia to earn money can indeed make life better. Isn't their intention too direct? Who cares about die-hard fans nowadays? As long as it sounds good, it's fine. Bai Xiaoye said, Brother, hurry up and leave. I won't be able to fool him if he sees through me. This guy has a bad temper when he acts like a big shot. If I don't teach him a lesson, I'll be letting myself down. Soo-yun smiled bitterly. Then you're not surprised by my sudden return? Of course I'm surprised. Bai Xiaoye said, But I know you'll be fine, so I'm not worried. Sister Frost just left 2 minutes ago. If you go after her now, you'll be home too. Give her a surprise and be romantic. Soo-yun could only leave obediently and go home again. Bai Xiaoye also turned around and went back to the hotel. She wanted to ridicule this narcissistic guy a little more before going home. This was also to give Soo-yun and Frost some time alone. However, Bai Xiaoye had put in a lot of effort. If it weren't for this, she wouldn't have bothered to waste time on Jin Honbang. Is that your boyfriend? Jin Honbang saw Bai Xiaoye coming back and immediately said in a disdainful tone, He looks so old-fashioned. He should be from the countryside, right? Jin Honbang's expression made Bai Xiaoye feel disgusted. That's right. In Huaxia's words, it's called the countryside, Bai Xiaoye said. There are too many monsters in the city. He doesn't have much experience. I'm worried that he will have nightmares when he sees some monsters. Who are you scolding? Jin Honbang glared at her. I find that your mouth is really asking for a beating. Is that so? Bai Xiaoye said, Then bear with it. I'm your manager. You have no choice but to bear with it. Jin Honbang said in a provocative tone, Then how are you going to arrange my schedule? You should know how to arrange a popular person like me, right? Do you have experience? Or have you never arranged for a popular artist like me? If you don't have experience, then don't mess around. Bai Xiaoye really wanted to laugh. Although she had been managing Sky Entertainment Hotel, she had seen all kinds of popular artists every day. She was already familiar with how to arrange things. Since you're so popular, then arrange for a reality show, Bai Xiaoye said. I'll arrange it. It must be a reality show on a first-tier platform. Song Ji couldn't help but add. Bai Xiaoye waved her hand impatiently. That's for sure. Sky Entertainment Group is so powerful that we don't want to work with a trashy platform. It must be a reality show on a big TV channel, ranked first or second in the country. Song Ji nodded with a smile. That's good. As an artist's manager, Song Ji knew very well that this kind of popular reality show would definitely bring in both fame and fortune. It could make money and increase popularity. As long as Jin Honbang wore a mask in the show and pretended to be polite, he would let the fans see that he was a good student who excelled in all aspects of morality, intelligence, physique, beauty, and work. Then, it would be a success. If this show was done well, it would at least attract millions of fans. What did it mean to attract millions of fans? It meant that they could take a lot of money from the advertisers' wallets. How about this? I'll arrange for the organizer to come to the hotel for an interview, Bai Xiaoye said. Since you're going to participate, you have to promote the show. The interview is naturally the first step. I'll come to Huaxia. I don't accept interviews from backstage. I want to do it in the studio. Jin Honbang's attitude of, the most popular person in the universe, was simply dazzling and blinding. Although Bai Xiaoye was prepared for him to think that he was very popular, she was still impressed by his confidence that she didn't know where it came from. I'm very popular. Everyone wants to interview me. If you want to interview me, you have to communicate with me in advance. Let me know if the person who wants to interview me is qualified or not. Jin Honbang began to talk endlessly. After a torrent of "I'm very red" speech, he finally shut his mouth because he was thirsty. Bai Xiaoye gave him 3 words. Forget it. Jin Honbang was speechless. No. We can discuss this slowly. Song Jiji said, of course, I think that since we're working with them on a reality show, shouldn't we let them arrange some of our needs? Yo, the big shots are going out to live by themselves. Why do they care about this? Bai Xiaoye said disdainfully. She knew that Jin Honbang didn't accept the room arrangement this time because he wanted to go out and pretend. Song Jiji felt bitter. Just Jin Honbang's room alone cost more than 30,000 yuan to stay outside for one night, not to mention the rest of the crew. Coming here would at least solve the problem of Jin Honbang's 30,000 yuan room. It wasn't easy for him to pay for it. How heart-wrenching. Then tell me what you want. I can ask the organizer, Bai Xiaoye said. Jin Honbang didn't stand on ceremony when he heard this. He immediately said, we don't ask for much. A 140 square meter presidential suite with a living room, dining room, and study. Arrange for a private chef. I don't eat Hua Xia's local ingredients. Prepare a GMC commercial car for me. It's best if you can also prepare a 10-meter self-propelled caravan. Bai Xiaoye's face was cold the whole time. Who does he think he is to ask for a 10-meter self-propelled caravan? A self-propelled caravan? Is a Mercedes-Benz Volvo Alcoven 1200 okay? Jin Honbang nodded with satisfaction. This is good. No problem at all. Have you seen a Mercedes-Benz Volvo Alcoven 1200? Bai Xiaoye said with disdain. Even she had only seen pictures of this limited edition car, let alone an artist like Jin Honbang. Jin Honbang was speechless. If you can prepare it, then prepare it. If you can't, then don't talk nonsense. I don't think any organizer can fulfill your request. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. I think Park Sung-bang should do this show. You should rest. Damn it. Jin Honbang was a little angry. Is there a point in repeating this? Are you deliberately playing with me? Even Hua Xia's famous celebrity doesn't have as many requests as you. It can even be said that it's not even 1/10 of your requests. Sometimes, they even buy drinks and snacks out of their own pocket to reward the hard-working staff. Bai Xiaoye said, forget it. Good night. See you later. Let's go. Bai Xiaoye was really ruthless. She had just used the most popular reality show to whet the other party's appetite, and she immediately turned hostile. She really left. Bai Xiaoye didn't even look back. She went to the office to pack her things and prepare to go home to see her brother. Who had the time to continue playing with this arrogant person? Chapter 3360. In private, Jin Honbang had completely exposed his other side. In front of the public and the media, he was always so humble and polite. But once he didn't do that, he would show all his temper. Bang bang, we have no choice. Song Jiji tried his best to comfort Jin Honbang, trying to calm him down. Jin Honbang's eyes were bloodshot, but under Song Jiji's strong resistance, he finally decided to let Bai Xiaoye go. However, he still needed to find someone to vent his anger on. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. Have you settled the matter of selecting beautiful female fans from the Qingdao area of Huaxia? Jin Honbang suddenly asked Song Jiji. Song Jiji nodded, yes. Good. Jin Honbang left Sky Entertainment Hotel in a hurry and drove back to his hotel as fast as he could. After he returned to his room, he took a selfie of himself lying in the hotel room and posted it on his Twitter with a caption, "It's my first day in Sky Entertainment Group. Although I've been busy, I feel very fulfilled. For my dear fans, I'll work harder." With this line of words and the accompanying picture, Jin Honbang's Twitter immediately went viral. Soon, The names of the beautiful female fans in the Qingdao area that he had asked Song Jiji to filter for him also appeared in the message. Jin Hanbang immediately replied to the private message. As a fan, it was naturally flattering to receive such a reply. Jin Hanbang fooled the other party with a few words. Then, he asked the other party to come to the hotel. When the beautiful fan agreed excitedly, Jin Hanbang immediately called Song Jiji and asked him to prepare champagne and wine glasses, as well as a bouquet of flowers for him. Song Jiji understood what Jin Hanbang was going to do. His face darkened. Bang bang, this is not Korea. This is Huaxia. If you use dating as an excuse to ask your fans to be your canon, we won't be able to control the situation once you get into trouble. We don't know if the Chanyu Group will stand up for us. Don't worry. Sky Entertainment Group won't ignore me. Jin Hanbang said confidently, even if I cause trouble, they will help me solve it. Where does your confidence come from? Song Jiji was speechless as the manager. You saw Mr. Ruan's attitude today. If they don't deal with the trouble I've caused, it will affect the reputation of Sky Entertainment Group. Jin Hanbang waved his phone. He had already written on Twitter that he was going to Sky Entertainment Group. Song Jiji knew there was nothing he could do about it. Song Jiji, I'm paying you to do things for me, not to educate me. Jin Hanbang said with a straight face, I can let you be my agent, or I can ask you to leave. Don't forget my current status. I'm very popular, and no one can stop me from changing agents. Okay, I'll go prepare now. Song Jiji was really speechless. Ever since Jin Han became famous, he had been treating him like this. Maybe it doesn't have to be the 9 dragons sword. It's also possible to find the pearl in Cishi's mouth. I'm just giving an example. Ruan Qingshuang stopped teasing him and continued to ask, what about Xia Qiuyu? Why didn't she come back with you? In the future, Xia Qiuyu will be a comrade of the Commission for Discipline Inspection. We have to cooperate with her work. If we find any suspicious corruption, we have to report it by calling 12388. We have to make sure that those corrupt parasites have nowhere to hide. Ruan Qingshuang nodded vigorously. That's right. We have to make those despicable parasites disappear forever. Believe in our comrade Xia Qiuyu. With her existence, the Commission for Discipline Inspection will be like a tiger with wings. We will definitely solve 2 big cases before the end of the year. Su Yun said, some corrupt people can still enjoy the fruits of others' labor because there is no evidence of their corruption. Now that the Commission for Discipline Inspection has Xia Qiuyu, it will be easy to find evidence of corruption. Xia Qiuyu is so amazing. Ruan Qingshuang said, did she make a contribution this time? Of course. Su Yun said, not only did she make a contribution, but she also made a great contribution. If she didn't find the location of the beast head, we wouldn't have been able to find it. Ruan Qingshuang nodded. That was true. While the two were chatting, Bai Xiaoye also drove home. After mocking the Jin Han stick, Bai Xiaoye was in a good mood. She rushed up and hugged Su Yun. Brother, I didn't do that on purpose. Alright, I was just about to ask you something. Why are the members of MLGB in our hotel? What are you guys talking about? Su Yun asked curiously. Ruan Qingshuang immediately explained to Su Yun the Asia-Pacific Entertainment Resources Exchange organized by Sky Entertainment Corporation. Su Yun finally understood and nodded. This will promote the development of Huaxia's entertainment culture in the Asia-Pacific region. It will help develop Huaxia's entertainment economy and culture. The Asia-Pacific region is a big market that Huaxia must fight for. It is different from other European and American markets. Huaxia's entertainment industry is not recognized in the European and American markets because of the cultural differences. The cultural differences between the East and the West are not easy to overcome. However, it is only possible to promote the entertainment culture out of the Asia-Pacific region and then develop it internationally. They indeed needed to learn from Korea. Korea did have its own way of entertainment culture. Although they claimed to be the center of the world's entertainment trends, which was a little exaggerated, it had to be said that they were indeed extraordinary. Chapter 3361. Su Yun was very supportive of this project. It was definitely a good thing for the promotion of Hua Xia's entertainment culture. Then we can ask MLGB's artist to share his experience with our artist, Su Yun said. This is a good thing. Ask him to share his experience with our artist? Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes. Don't joke around, brother. Do you know how arrogant that guy is? Su Yun was stunned. Does he think he's an international superstar? Brother, you're wrong. Bai Xiaoye shook her head. He thinks he's a cosmic superstar. International superstars are nothing in his eyes. If you tell him that he has fans on Mars, he'll believe you without a doubt. Su Yun couldn't help but feel awkward. You're exaggerating, right? Brother, if you think I'm lying, then you can talk to that guy yourself. If he doesn't kill you, then I'm just making things up, Bai Xiaoye said clearly. Ruan Qingshuang couldn't help but complain. He's indeed a guy who likes to act like a big shot. He keeps saying, I'm very popular. It's our fault for not giving him special privileges. He even opened a hotel himself. I'm really speechless. Su Yun frowned. That's too much. Not only that, he went to another hotel today. I don't know what happened, but the news spread. Some brainless fans went to the hotel to block him, causing traffic to be blocked. Ruan Qingshuang said, I told his people to announce that there would be a fan meeting tomorrow and asked him to evacuate his fans first. But he didn't agree to go to the fan meeting at all. Su Yun was a little confused. Artists rely on fans to support them. He doesn't even want to go to the fan meeting? Isn't this a little too much? It's more than just too much. Ruan Qingshuang said, he said he doesn't care about his fans at all. That's the most infuriating thing. People's mentality is different when they're popular. Su Yun smiled. If they weren't that popular, they wouldn't be like this. In my impression, MLGB people are very humble. I used to think so too. After all, they are humble in front of the public and the media. This is also a characteristic of Korean artists. They are humble and polite. This is something I have always wanted to emphasize to our artists. Ruan Qingshuang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Before I met this guy, I always thought that our artists like to act like big shots. Other artists are all modest and polite. Now I realize that I was wrong. Bai Xiaoye hit the nail on the head. Actually, they are very humble in their country. They only started acting like big shots after they came to Hua Xia. The reason is very simple. Our Hua Xia has given them too good a treatment, so they think they are very powerful. That's why they came here to act like big shots. This was entirely a matter of treatment. Once a person had money, everything would be different. Just look at how the Chinese celebrities and Korean celebrities are treated in this show. How do they treat Chinese celebrities and Korean celebrities? The money that Hua Xia artists earned for one episode was enough for Korean artists to run for one season. This was the difference between heaven and earth. Korean artists had ordinary jobs in Korea, and their income was very ordinary. Even if they filmed very famous TV dramas and movies, the pay was not very high. Because of the limited production budget, the salary of a Korean scriptwriter was much higher than that of a Hua Xia coder. After calculating all the expenses, they could only reduce the remuneration of the artists. Gao Li's strength lay in the fact that he could reduce the remuneration of the artists without any scruples. Countless artists were going to debut in Korea every year. In order to become famous, they would work very hard and very seriously. They would never complain about it. Some of them didn't mind the low remuneration. Take Song Appa for example. He had once appeared on a show in Korea. He probably didn't earn much in order to appear on screen. Coming to Hua Xia to film an episode of Running Man, he would be paid 300 million Korean won. Hua Xia was very strange and perverted. The remuneration of the artists took up most of the time. It was unknown when this trend started. To put it bluntly, it was completely the effect of brainless fans. Many times, a very good story was not allowed to find a good scriptwriter because of the lack of funds. They found an ordinary scriptwriter. If the scriptwriter was bad, the drama would almost be a failure. Then, because of the huge remuneration of the actors and artists, the production cost was reduced by a lot. This caused many filming to be quite bad. The money was all spent on the artists. How could they film anything good? This was why Hua Xia's movies had never been able to amaze the world. 80 to 90% of the hundreds of millions of film and TV production costs were taken by the actors. How could they film? The reason why the Korean artists were humble in Korea was because they were not that valuable. Their status was not as high as many other professions. But Hua Xia was different. The status of the Hua Xia artists was quite high. It was so high that it could make people lose themselves. Here, the Korean artists could not be blamed for losing themselves once they came to Hua Xia to earn money and enjoy the treatment here. Even many of the Hua Xia artists started to become arrogant after reaching a certain status. For example, it was said that the best actor who had filmed many lousy movies was very good at playing tricks. However, most of the big shots in Hua Xia were very amiable. Most of the pretentious ones who played tricks were half-hearted. Most of them disappeared without a trace. In the end, it was because their status was too high. Of course, to be able to act like a big shot, it also required pressure and hard work that ordinary people could not bear. This could not be ignored. Acting like a big shot was not unforgivable. Most people who suddenly became rich after enduring oppression would have this mentality. Compared to those who flaunted their wealth, this was actually nothing. In the end, it was easy to earn money. This phenomenon could not be solved in a short period of time. If we don't suppress Jin Hanbang's arrogance, he will really treat Hua Xia as a bank vault. He can take as much as he wants when he comes and doesn't want to pay any price. Su Yun touched his chin. This would not do. Bai Xiaoye said, I also warned him today. If he doesn't comply with our hotel arrangements and is willing to stay in a suite, don't blame us for not taking responsibility if he causes any trouble. Su Yun nodded and agreed with Bai Xiaoye's words. Then let's create some trouble for him. It's good to make him worry. Brother, what do you mean? Bai Xiaoye was stunned. You're not trying to do something, are you? Of course. Su Yun nodded. If he doesn't listen to our arrangements when he comes to Hua Xia, we must teach him a lesson. Otherwise, it will be troublesome if Korean artists are so lawless when they come to Hua Xia in the future. Ruan Qingshuang thought about it and agreed. That's true, but don't go overboard. It's okay. I'll just call Brother Shirley and ask him to find a few little brothers who used to play with him to harass him at the hotel. Su Yun, such a big shot will probably go crazy if he is disturbed by a knock on the door. Don't go overboard. And that's right. Just teach him a lesson so that he won't act recklessly. Ruan Qingshuang nodded. Su Yun didn't hesitate and immediately dialed Shirley's number. Shirley was quite happy to receive Su Yun's call. Brother, when did you come back? I just came back today. Su Yun smiled. Brother Lei, are you free tonight? Brother, I'll hold a welcome dinner for you tomorrow, but I can't tonight. Something just happened. Do you still remember Brother Chow Fei? His daughter was humiliated by a bastard and almost committed suicide. Shirley said, I'm on my way there. He asked me to help him deal with some trouble. Hearing such a serious matter, Su Yun couldn't help but frown. What happened? Brother Chow Fei's daughter said that she was chasing a celebrity, but that bastard tricked her into going to a hotel under the pretext of dating. Then, after doing something to her, he said that they weren't suitable for each other and asked her to leave. The girl couldn't take it and went home saying that she wanted plastic surgery. Otherwise, she wouldn't be worthy of her idol. Shirley said, Brother Chow Fei definitely didn't agree. When the family quarreled, they found that the child had bruises on her body. After asking, they found out that she had been violated. The child cried and wanted to jump off the building. Brother Chow Fei couldn't take it anymore and wanted to find that little celebrity to reason with. He asked me to go because I'm more familiar with the hotel owner. Hearing this, Su Yun also understood the seriousness of the matter. Give me the address. I'll go and take a look. Su Yun immediately said. Brother Chow Fei was a very loyal person and had a very good relationship with Shirley. Su Yun was also familiar with him. Shirley didn't say anything hypocritical and immediately gave Su Yun the address. Chapter 3362. Su Yun immediately rushed over. Chow Fei's brother was probably very upset that something had happened so late at night. Perhaps Su Yun couldn't help much, but as the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, it shouldn't be difficult for him to solve the problem of a little girl chasing after a celebrity, right? If this child needed the encouragement of any popular male idols, he could probably call a dozen of them. When Su Yun drove to Chow Fei's brother's house, Shirley was already there. The girl was making a fuss about wanting to commit suicide, causing the whole family to be in chaos. The neighbors were also worried. How could a girl who looked so energetic be a die-hard fan? Brother Lei, which hotel is that little celebrity staying at? Su Yun asked directly after he arrived. He had to find that little brat and apologize to this agitated child. This child won't say. Shirley said helplessly, her family has been asking, but she won't say. Chow Fei was 55 years old this year, and his worried face made him look like he was 65 years old. Because he only had this baby daughter when he was 35 years old, he had taken care of her meticulously for the past 20 years. He had been obedient to her since she was young. It could be said that he didn't dare to go against his daughter's wishes at all. Perhaps because of this, Chow Fei's daughter had always been straightforward with any request. She would make a fuss about anything that didn't go her way, completely ignoring the feelings of her family. She was a typical spoiled baby. Su Yun actually didn't have much to do with this kind of baby. She was already spoiled by her parents. Who could persuade her? But this girl's situation was different. Since she was obsessed with celebrities, Su Yun could easily solve this problem. Let me try, Su Yun said to Chow Fei and Shirley. At least I can make her feel a little more relaxed. Shirley agreed. He nodded and said to the girl who was making a fuss, "Big niece, do you see him? He's Sky Entertainment Group's Su Yun, CEO Su. He's friends with me and your father. You've heard of all the artists in Sky Entertainment Group, right?" Hearing this, the girl really stopped crying in an instant. She suddenly quieted down by the bay window in her room. "Your Uncle Lei is right." Su Yun smiled. "Although I've never liked media exposure, I believe that since you know so much about the entertainment industry, you should know a little about it, right?" Su Yun's appearance was really effective. "I know. You and Ling Jiling had a scandal." "Ah." Su Yun was startled. "Little girl, you've misunderstood. The news was blocked very quickly. You guys are really good at being bosses." The girl didn't seem to dislike Su Yun. Instead, she had a trace of admiration. "Is it that if you want a celebrity to accompany you, that celebrity will accompany you?" No. You're mistaken. There are indeed some people in our circle who are like that." Su Yun explained. "Some bosses with connections are indeed dissolute. We don't know the truth of these things. Some of them are just rumors spread by the media. Some of them could be true. However, those are other people's private matters. It's not moral to pry." The girl didn't seem to want to continue the conversation with Su Yun. "Don't play moral blackmail. Why can't people talk about what they did?" "But I'm innocent." "Su Yun, I promise I'm innocent. I don't care. I don't care what others say about me. A straight man isn't afraid of a crooked shadow." Since the girl was interested in this topic, Su Yun didn't interrupt her. He first diverted her attention to the window. After all, this bay window could be easily jumped out of the window. Su Yun felt that as long as it was a topic that interested the girl, no matter what it was, as long as it could distract her, they could talk about it. "Then why did you use your connections to delete the news about you?" the girl asked sharply. "If the news isn't true, Sky Entertainment Group doesn't need to use their connections at all. They only need to sue to solve the problem." "Su Yun, the news that needs to be deleted isn't about me. First, it's not true. Second, it will affect Ling Jiling's reputation. The girl was puzzled. You don't care about your reputation? You care about the reputation of a female star in your company? Of course. Su Yun, but many people say that she's just a vase. The girl said disdainfully. Perhaps she was disgusted by this kind of female celebrity who was regarded as a goddess. It was normal for her to be disgusted, because this kind of celebrity who was regarded as a goddess often had the opportunity to cooperate with those little fresh meats and interact with them. This would make some of the fresh meat fans feel uncomfortable. Many people say that. However, many girls don't have the qualifications to be vases. Su Yun smiled. Although it sounds insulting to say that she's just a girl on the outside but not on the inside, the meaning on the surface is still positive. At least, that's what I think. The girl was stunned. She didn't think that Su Yun, as the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, would say so much to her. Have you heard of the Qianlong pastel-colored vase, Ji Qing Yu Yu? It's worth more than 500 million. Su Yun continued to divert the girl's attention. That's still a vase. The girl said, then is she really what she appears to be? Cultured, and refined? Yes. That's why I think her reputation is quite important. Su Yun, at least from my interactions with her, I don't think she's a pretentious person. At least she's never been pretentious to me. She doesn't have that princess syndrome that makes people uncomfortable. She's not bad either. I think that's pretty good. Okay then, even if you're not doing it for yourself. The girl said. Suddenly, she thought of something. What does your business have to do with me? I don't care at all. Then what do you care about now? Su Yun, I've heard some things about you. If you're interested in the entertainment industry, I can take you to see the celebrities you like. They can even talk to you alone. The girl suddenly froze. She thought of something. It's your Sky Entertainment Group's event. That's why he came to Qingdao. Ha! Su Yun was stunned. What do you mean? Let me ask you. Did MLGB's Kim Han Bang stay with Hua Xia because of Sky Entertainment Group? The girl's expression became serious. There seemed to be a trace of resentment between her brows. Su Yun nodded. He was also confused. Could it be that this girl was here because of Kim Han Bang? Just now at home, he was talking to Ruan Qingshuang and Bai Xiaoye about Kim Han Bang. There was definitely something wrong with this person's character. The person who cheated on you is Kim Han Bang? Su Yun frowned. If that's the case, you can tell me directly. No matter how you want to solve this problem, I'll solve it for you. You can really solve it for me? The girl's emotions seemed to be completely controlled at this moment. Although she had just been cheated on by her idol, she was still willing to give her idol a chance to explain. This was because she had already thought of 1,000 reasons to explain her idol's actions. Su Yun had to admit that this girl was a high-level representative of a brainless fan. Although Su Yun was very resistant to this kind of child, this was Chao Fei's big brother's child. This girl was different from other children. Su Yun couldn't be impatient. I'll definitely solve the problem I promised you. Su Yun, but first, you have to promise me that you won't do such a dangerous thing. This won't solve the problem at all. If I stay here, can you solve the problem for me? Can you take me to see Kim Han Bang? The girl asked nervously. I won't take you to see him. I'll take him to see you. Su Yun, you just have to tell me where he is. Shirley was a little confused. He knew that all the foreign stars who came to Sky Entertainment Group today were arranged to stay at Sky Entertainment Hotel. They're all at Sky Entertainment Hotel, right? He's not. Su Yun, today, Qingshuang and Xiaoye told me that the guy was acting like a big shot. He went to find a hotel by himself. I think he should be treated differently because he's a Jin Han stick. He's different from the others. At this time, the girl still spoke up for her idol who had deceived her. Su Yun was speechless, but he couldn't say anything. Then tell me his hotel and room. I'll go find him now. I'll ask him to give you an explanation in person. Are you satisfied with this solution? The girl finally calmed down. She nodded and told Su Yun Jin Hanbang's hotel and room number. Chapter 3363. At this moment, Jin Hanbang didn't know that he had inadvertently caused such a big trouble. He was holding his mobile phone and preparing to ask another female fan with a better figure and appearance. Unfortunately, the female fan he wanted to ask this time had a higher IQ. She knew what Jin Hanbang wanted to do by asking her to a hotel room at this time. Therefore, she had directly rejected him. This meant that not all fans were brainless. Most of them still had some intelligence. Jin Hanbang's failure made him feel uncomfortable, so he launched a strong attack. He originally thought that he could win this guy with his glib tongue, but in the end, he didn't succeed. This feeling of failure made him feel quite uncomfortable. Frankly speaking, ever since he became popular, no one had ever rejected him. After this sense of superiority became a habit, he had no immunity to failure. One failure was enough to make him resentful and angry. After Su Yun and the others got the room number, they went to the hotel with Shirley. Shirley called the hotel owner. Although Shirley didn't play those messy games anymore, after all, he was a person who left a legend in the underworld. The hotel owner would certainly give him face. Therefore, when Su Yun and Shirley came to the floor where Jin Hanbang was, no one stopped them. No one would ask what happened. But this Kim Hanbang was really big. He had arranged bodyguards at the elevator entrance of his floor. The bodyguards were on a 3-hour shift all night long so that he would not be disturbed by anyone. So when Su Yun and Shirley came to this floor, they were immediately stopped. When the bodyguards asked what they were doing, Su Yun and Shirley immediately knew who the two bodyguards were from the Chinese with a heavy Korean accent. "We are here to find Jin Hanbang." Su Yun said bluntly, "There are some things that we need to talk to him about." One of the bodyguards immediately informed the others. The other bodyguards prepared quickly. Within a minute, all of them appeared in front of Su Yun and Shirley. Shirley couldn't help but exclaim, "An artist with so many bodyguards is more powerful than the female boss of their country. He really earns a lot." As long as they have the opportunity to come to Huaxia to earn money, they will earn more than their female boss. Su Yun smiled. This number of bodyguards is nothing. There are even Korean artists who have 20 bodyguards to cover the entire floor of the hotel. He's still too young. Among the 7 bodyguards, the leader looked very arrogant, as if he was number one in the world. "Who are you people? I'm afraid it's not the right time to look for someone, right?" This guy's Chinese was very awkward. How to describe it? It was as if his mouth was stuffed with a whole cow's egg. "You are?" Su Yun asked deliberately. The arrogant guy looked at Su Yun in disbelief. "You don't even know who I am? I'm the champion of Korea, Kwon Yesu." Sharp canine teeth. Su Yun pretended not to hear clearly. However, this guy who was not proficient in Chinese nodded with satisfaction. "That's right, it's me, Kwon Yesu." "That's a good name." Su Yun sighed. "It sounds like a very crazy breed." "What does breed mean?" Kwon Yesu glared at Su Yun unhappily. He seemed to feel that Su Yun's words were not good. Su Yun did not think much. "Didn't you say that your canine teeth are very sharp? How would I know what breed you are? Is there a breed called the rare island dog in your country?" Kwon Yesu heard Su Yun's humiliation and was naturally unhappy. "Do you believe that I can beat you up right now?" Don't. Let's talk nicely. We're all here to work. It's not peaceful to fight because of a disagreement." "Su Yun, let's be friendly." Hearing Su Yun's words, Kwon Yesu thought that Su Yun was afraid. He immediately showed a disdainful face. "If you're afraid, get out of this place. I just want to ask Kim Hanbang something. Is there a need to make such a big fuss?" Su Yun felt that this fuss was really exaggerated. "If we insist on seeing him, what will you do? Our boss is already asleep. If you insist on going, we can only be rude to you." Kwon Yesu said impolitely, Don't think that I won't dare to do anything to you just because this is Hua Xia's territory." Shi Lei was really unhappy when he heard this. There is a saying in Hua Xia that a strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its own territory. Have you heard of it? I don't care who you are in Korea. Since you're in Hua Xia, you should lie down if you're a cat. Don't think too highly of yourself. Do you know who our boss is? Do you know how many fans our boss has in Hua Xia? Quan Yesu said arrogantly. I'm not afraid to scare you to death. He can make his fans tear you two apart with one word. Is he really that powerful? Su Yun grinned and sighed. So you should know who you are and whether you're qualified to see our boss. Quan Yesu was very proud to have a boss like Kim Honbang. It was true that the upper beam and the lower beam thought that the upper beam was very popular. We don't have time to waste on you. Shi Lei was running out of patience. Tell Jin Honbang to come out and follow us to a place. Tell him that he knows what he did to others tonight. Quan Yesu glared at him. I don't have time to waste on you either. Our boss didn't go out after he came back to the hotel. If you want to make trouble for him, you'd better be careful. Don't let me punch you in the head. He didn't go out, but what did he do in the hotel? The girl he cheated is going to commit suicide, so he has to come with us to explain it clearly. Shi Lei was serious at this moment. Quan Yesu understood as soon as he heard that. When the girl came in, he personally checked whether she carried any dangerous weapons. After making sure that the girl was safe, he let her enter Kim Honbong's room. When a man asked a woman to come to a hotel, everyone knew what he was going to do. When a woman came, she definitely knew what he was going to do. So it was a matter of mutual consent. Quan Yesu didn't think it was too much. Now that someone came to find him, he certainly couldn't admit defeat. I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't understand it. Quan Yesu said. My duty is to protect our boss's private life from being invaded and disturbed. It's the break time now. It's impossible for you to break in. I'll give you one last warning. Leave here, or I'll really beat you. Su Yun rubbed his ears. I say, Big Brother Canine, don't keep saying things like you're going to attack us, beat us up, and so on. Ever since we came here, you've said it many times. We all know it. The muscles on Quan Yesu's face trembled. What do you mean? Do you think I'm all talk and no action? Do you think I'm weak? If I don't warn you and beat you directly, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. There's a saying in Hua Xia. A dog that barks doesn't bite. Su Yun said, what's the difference between barking and barking? Quan Yesu's face was completely lost. He was actually scolded in the face. He definitely wanted to let the other party know the real strength of the Korean boxing champion. He wanted to let the other party know how strong he was. Quan Yesu suddenly attacked without warning. He wanted to use this sudden attack to cause the most powerful damage to Su Yun. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong opponent. If he chose Shi Lei, the sneak attack might have succeeded. Unfortunately, he chose Su Yun because Su Yun didn't look as strong as Shi Lei. Of course, all of this was just appearance. Shi Lei was bigger and looked more difficult to deal with. However, Su Yun was different. Su Yun didn't look so big, which gave Quan Yesu the confidence that he could kill him with one blow. However, his attack completely missed. What greeted him was a greeting from Su Yun's fist. Su Yun's move should be called blood-spurting punch. Quan Yesu's face was punched. His whole body was bleeding from his mouth and nose. He fell straight to the ground and lost all consciousness. His whole body was completely destroyed. Awesome, my brother Canine. If you didn't say you were a fighting champion, my fists would have been lighter. I didn't expect you to be so weak as a champion. Su Yun sighed. Wasn't this guy's bragging title a little too worthless? No boxing champion from any country could be so weak. Chapter 3364. Su Yun had verified a fact. A dog that barked was not necessarily a vicious dog. There were many people who relied on their mouths to make a living. Jin Honbang had taken a fancy to Quan Yushu's title. He did not care if Quan Yushu had bribed the referee or if Quan Yushu had paid a high price to drug his opponent when he won the championship in the fighting arena. This popular fresh meat who wanted to save face only needed a person with a title and status to be his bodyguard in order to raise his status and status. This was the effect Kim Honbang wanted. As for whether his bodyguards were really practical, he did not think too much about it. Anyone who thought about practicality would not spend hundreds of millions of won every year to hire such a guy. Hundreds of millions of won was enough to hire someone from Han T's force. Those people from Han T's force might not have titles like fighting champions, but if they really fought, they would definitely not be a match for a piece of trash like Quan Yashiro. Quan Yashiro was just a showy fighter. His punches looked fast, but they did not have enough strength. In this case, Quan Yashiro could only deal with ordinary people. People with a little bit of experience would not be afraid of a guy like him. After Quan Yashiro fell to the ground, the other bodyguards were also dumbfounded. They were all people gathered by Quan Yashiro, and they were all people in Quan Yashiro's martial arts circle. How could someone who regarded someone like Quan Yashiro as a big brother have any real skills? People with real skills looked down on Quan Yashiro, which was why Quan Yashiro had become a bodyguard when he could no longer survive in the martial arts circle. No contestant was willing to fight with him. They all knew that he was a bastard who liked to bribe the referee and give his opponents laxatives. After Su Yun took down Quan Yashiro, he walked forward without hesitation. The remaining bodyguards still had some professional ethics. They did not let Su Yun go on a rampage. Instead, they swarmed forward and surrounded Su Yun. However, after Su Yun used Total Annihilation and Dragon Tail, no one dared to stand up again. Song Jiji was actually already asleep, but when he heard a sound outside, he quickly pulled up his pants and opened the door. When he saw that all the bodyguards had been knocked down, his mind was also in chaos. What was going on? Who are you people? What are you trying to do? I'm telling you, don't mess around. Song Jiji pointed at Su Yun and Shi Lei vigilantly. This is a public place. You guys hit people. I'm going to sue you. Su Yun didn't care what it was. Do whatever you want. Just as Song Jiji was about to reprimand her again, a familiar figure appeared in his mind. Wasn't this the person he met at the Sky Entertainment Hotel? Wasn't this Bai Xiaoye's boyfriend? Why was this guy here? Just as Song Jiji was puzzled, he saw Shi Lei again. This was also a familiar figure. He had seen Shi Lei when he came to Sky Entertainment Group. Shi Lei was the person in charge of the security of Sky Entertainment Group. Brother Su Yun, leave this to me. Take that guy and let him explain himself. I'll take care of things here, Shi Lei said. When he heard the name Su Yun, Song Jiji felt as if his head was struck by lightning. At this moment he finally understood. No wonder the boyfriend, Bai Xiaoye mentioned at the Sky Entertainment Hotel, looked a little familiar. This was the real CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, Su Yun. CEO Su, why are you here? Song Jiji recognized Su Yun. He had only seen photos before, but he had never seen Su Yun in person. He didn't recognize him before because he didn't think in that direction. Who would have thought that the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group would appear here at this time? Moreover, he had caused such a mess. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't match his status as a CEO. You know me? Su Yun glanced at Song Jiji. This guy's physiognomy wasn't good. His eyes were big on the left and small on the right. According to the physiognomy books, people like him had bad luck with their wives. Moreover, Song Jiji's eyes were lifeless. He gave people the feeling that he was dispirited and listless. His eyes were blurry. In this kind of situation, anyone would be alert. Song Jiji looked the same even when he was alert. Clearly, it wasn't because he hadn't woken up yet. He was a typical greedy and lecherous person. Most of them indulged in excessive indulgence and indulged in alcohol and women. That was why they had such lifeless eyes. Su Yun frowned. This guy's cheekbones were too wide, and the corners of his mouth were curved downwards. His eyes were triangular, and the corners of his eyes were drooping, As the saying goes, people with narrow cheeks tend to be loyal, while people with wide cheeks tend to be petty. People with triangular eyes and drooping corners of their eyes were considered treacherous and cunning since ancient times. If they didn't seek fame and fortune, they wouldn't make friends with others. Just from this point, Su Yun could judge that Song Jiji became Jin Hanbong's agent because he liked Jin Hanbong's pockets. Otherwise, a normal agent wouldn't have the patience to be an agent for a guy who always acted like a big shot. An agent was also a human being. No one was willing to be bullied for no reason. He must have his own thoughts if he could bear it. I'm really blind. I didn't recognize Boss Su until now. Song Jiji's face changed really quickly. A second ago, he had a murderous look. Now, he had become a submissive villain. Song Jiji's face changed really fast. A second ago, he had a murderous look. Song Jiji always had a glib tongue. He said, "Mr. Su, please don't be offended. I'll help you wake up Bang Bang now. It's our honor that you can come here in person. No need to be so troublesome. I can find him myself." Su Yun didn't want to talk nonsense with this typical villain. He said, "I know his room number. You can go about your business." Song Jiji was stunned for a moment. How did Su Yun know Jin Hanbong's room number? This was not right. Song Jiji had never told anyone outside Jin Hanbong's room number. Then let me inform him first. Song Jiji emphasized again. Mr. Su came too suddenly. He was not prepared. I'll tell him first so that he can be prepared. Ha ha ha. The awkward laughter was full of guilt. Song Jiji's expression was very unnatural. Normal people wouldn't be so guilty. Do I need to wait to see him? Su Yun sneered. Are you mistaken about your status as an agent? I'm afraid no one is qualified to act like a big shot in front of me. Why? Does Jin Hanbang want to make an exception? Let's see if I, Su Yun, have the ability to directly block him in Huaxia. Song Jiji's face changed in an instant. As the president of the Chanyu Group, the leader of the entire Huaxia entertainment industry, if Su Yun didn't have the ability to block an artist, it was simply a fantasy. Because with Su Yun's current status and connections and ability in the Huaxia entertainment industry, it was just a matter of a word if he wanted to block a person. No matter how popular the person was, no matter how powerful the person was, Su Yun only needed a word to let anyone off the hook. It was not difficult for him to let anyone off the hook. Moreover, Jin Hanbang was just a Korean artist. The Korean entertainment company had been constantly creating stars over the years in order to come to the Huaxia market to make money. They would not offend a big shot like Su Yun in the Huaxia entertainment industry for a Jin Hanbang. To put it simply, Jin Hanbang was really a small ant in Su Yun's eyes. If he wanted to pinch him to death, he could pinch him to death. He was not even a fart. If Jin Hanbang was blocked, Song Jiji would lose his job and have no food to eat. He had worked with Jin Hanbang for 2 years and had offended many people. Even if it was not his intention, Jin Hanbang's big temper would offend people wherever he went. As an agent, Song Jiji certainly could not let his artist suffer losses. So he had always offended people with Jin Hanbang. As long as Jin Hanbang was crippled, Song Jiji would not be able to continue to work in this industry. He endured humiliation by Jin Hanbang's side in order to make a few more years of money. When he had money, he would jump out of this industry to do some other business. But now he hadn't even made enough money. If he lost his job at this time, he would really go crazy. President Su, don't misunderstand. I definitely don't mean what you think. I'm just worried that his image is too bad now and he can't see you. Song Jiji hurriedly bowed his head and explained, I don't mean to disrespect you. He has no face to see me. Su Yun dropped these words and strode to Jin Hanbang's room. Chapter 3365. Song Jiji followed closely behind Su Yun. Beads of sweat continuously seeped out from his forehead and flowed down his wide cheeks and neck. After being in the industry for so many years, Song Jiji had never been as nervous as he was today. When Su Yun was about to reach the door of Jin Hanbong's room, Song Jiji sped up and overtook him. He came to knock on the door for Su Yun. Someone of Su Yun's status shouldn't be knocking on the door. Song Jiji had already been taught by Jin Hanbang to be very lowly. As soon as the door was knocked, Jin Hanbang in the room got angry. He shouted in Korean, "What time is it now? Can't you let me rest? Are you crazy? Do you want to die?" Song Jiji smiled awkwardly at Su Yun. "I'm sorry, Mr. Su. Our Bang Bang doesn't like to be disturbed when she is resting. He doesn't know it's you. If he knew it was you, he wouldn't be like this." Then Song Jiji said to the door in Korean, "Get up and open the door. Mr. Su of Sky Entertainment Group is here. Pay attention to your attitude. You are crazy. No matter what, you can't yell at him. He is your money tree." Song Jiji thought Su Yun couldn't understand their conversation at all. Jin Hanbang didn't listen to Song Jiji at all. He didn't even think about a word. "No matter who it is, tell him to get out of here. Don't you know what time it is now? Who would come to visit at this time? He has no manners at all. I don't want to see a guy who doesn't know manners." Song Jiji was embarrassed. He raised his voice. "It's Mr. Su of Sky Entertainment Group. Sky Entertainment Group." However, Su Yun didn't have so much patience. After all, he could understand their conversation. Bang! When the door was kicked open by Su Yun, Jin Hanbang suddenly sat up in bed. There was a reason why he didn't want to be disturbed. He was chatting with a girl in a new idol group on a dating app. The girl wanted to take advantage of his popularity. Jin Hanbang knew these little tricks very well, so he had his own idea. Since she wanted to take advantage of his popularity, she should pay something. At least, she should sleep with him for a few days after he returned to China. It was not a big deal for a new idol, was it? They were all in the Korean entertainment circle. Who didn't know the unspoken rules in the entertainment circle? The entire Korean entertainment industry had clear prices. It was more transparent and fair. Not only did newcomers who had just debuted have to accept the unspoken rules, but many big stars were also forced to accept the unspoken rules. There were those with a starting price of 25 million Korean won and up to 100 million Korean won. During the transaction, the female artiste had to step away temporarily and let the middleman haggle with the customer over the monthly fee. Newcomers usually cost tens of millions of won per month, while more famous and popular female stars cost 100 million won per month. Everyone knew that it was a secret that was no longer a secret. Even in this kind of improper transaction, there was a monthly agreement. It was very clear that responsibilities, obligations, benefits, and sharing were clearly written. After the middleman and the client reached an agreement, the female artist and the middleman would sign an agreement, which involved the obligations and income distribution during the period of being hired. The female artist not only had to share the monthly fee with the middleman, but also had to report her schedule with the client to the middleman. If the female artist didn't obey the middleman's arrangement, or leaked any content in the agreement, she would not get anything. If the personal information of the person who hired the month was leaked, the female artist would even have to pay 3 billion Korean won. Anyway, this was the normal situation in the Korean entertainment circle. The pressure of these newcomers was huge. If they wanted to be famous, they needed exposure. If they wanted exposure, they could. There were hundreds of variety shows in Korea that could increase their exposure. Therefore, in addition to recording records, shooting movies, and other normal work, the newcomers also had to accept the company's arrangement to participate in these variety shows. It was not an exaggeration to say that they lived and ate in the RV. Therefore, if a newcomer could hook up with a popular artist like Kim Hanbang, it would reduce a lot of work pressure. This kind of opportunity didn't come often. Therefore, it was normal for Kim Hanbang to use this method to recruit newcomers. Originally, Jin Hanbang had already convinced this new little girl to record a dance for him that could completely reveal her figure for him to enjoy, but in the end, it was interrupted by the guy who suddenly kicked in the door. Naturally, he couldn't stand it. This is crazy. What is he doing now? What's going on? Who are these people? Why didn't anyone stop him? Kim Hanbong's face changed when he saw Su Yun and Shirley. Where's the money? I don't give you so much money every year for you to sleep. When Kim Hanbang yelled at Song Jiji, he kept giving him hints with his eyes. But Kim Hanbang was not in the mood to look at Song Jiji. He was still waiting to enjoy the dance. Bang bang, let me introduce you. Song Jiji tried to forcibly interrupt Kim Hanbang. But Kim Hanbang was already spoiled. How could he allow Song Jiji to interrupt him? He was furious on the spot. I'm asking you where the money is. Kim Hanbang yelled, if they are trash, get out of here immediately. Song Jiji really wanted to cry. This guy didn't even listen to a single word he said. He was really about to collapse. They are really trash. Su Yun said, I have already defeated them. If you yell again, I will let you end up like them. Kim Hanbang was completely shocked by Su Yun's understatement. Song Jiji also nodded vigorously, indicating that everything Kim Hanbang said was true. After learning that Kim Hanbang and all the bodyguards were disabled, Kim Hanbang suddenly didn't have the arrogance just now. He could be fearless, but he really couldn't be arrogant when there was no guarantee of safety. In the most common words, Kim Hanbang relied on his face to make a living. If he hurt his face because of a conflict, it would break his rice bowl. What are you going to do? Kim Hanbong's arrogance was now gone, and he didn't have the confidence to speak. Song Jiji, this is your job. If someone comes to see me, don't you need to tell me in advance? Who is he? I just told you. Song Jiji said helplessly, this is President Su of Huaxia Sky Entertainment Group. Are you awake now? Were you dreaming just now, so you didn't hear what I said? Kim Hanbang nodded immediately when he got the hint. Yes, I just fell asleep. It turned out to be President Su. Sorry, I thought someone was looking for trouble. This is awkward. Someone is looking for trouble. Su Yun said as she walked into the room. Then tell me, what kind of shameful thing did you do to make you afraid that someone will come looking for trouble? Nothing, I didn't do anything. Kim Hanbang shook his head. After knowing that it was Su Yun, he calmed down a lot. Of course, he also had the mentality that he was very famous. Even in front of Su Yun, he wouldn't lower himself just because Su Yun was the president of Sky Entertainment Group. President Su, you should know that I'm very famous. There is a saying in Huaxia that a famous person has a lot of problems, so you should know my situation now. Su Yun directly sat on the sofa in the suite. The quality of this place is not bad. Kim Hanbong's vanity was somewhat satisfied. I'm usually too busy, so I need a quiet place to rest. But I heard that you were dissatisfied with the suite we arranged for you, so you moved out. Su Yun said bluntly. Kim Hanbang paused. He could say that he was dissatisfied in front of Ruan Qingshuang, and he dared to say it in front of Zhua Meiyan. However, this was Su Yun after all, and he even crippled all of his bodyguards. He hadn't interacted with Su Yun before, so he didn't know what kind of temper this president had, so he didn't dare to say it out loud. I'm just worried that if I live with all of them, they will affect my rest. Kim Hanbong's explanation was reasonable. But your company arranged for you to stay in Sky Entertainment Group. Isn't it so that you can exchange experiences and learn from others? Su Yun was still calm. He didn't impulsively teach this bastard a lesson. After all, in front of this guy, Su Yun was the president. Chapter 3366. As soon as he heard Su Yun's words, Jin Hanbang smiled and said, Manager Su, do you really think that I can learn anything from those guys? Can't you? Su Yun asked. Jin Hanbang shook his head with a disdainful expression. Of course not. Don't you know the gap between me and them? What's their level? What's their level? What's my level? What's my level? We're all artists. Why should we divide them into different levels? Su Yun said calmly. But in everyone's heart, artists are divided into A-list, B-list, and C-list. Aren't there different levels between award-winning actors and ordinary actors? Jin Hanbang firmly believed that there were different levels between artists. There are many veteran actors in Huaxia who haven't won the Best Actor award. Everyone is respected. Su Yun said, their acting skills are average, but it's not like there aren't people who have won Best Actor before. As for Best Actor, it's just a recognition. It's the same as popularity. A-list actors have more fans than C-list actors. It's the result of hype and packaging. There's not much difference. Jin Hanbang understood Su Yun's meaning. Su Yun was telling him that his popularity was not due to his personal ability. His personal ability was actually similar to other people's. It was only because his company gave him more packaging and hype, giving him more exposure. In addition, he was lucky enough to have his current achievements. Now, there were many artists who became popular because of luck. It could even be said that 10% of effort and 90% of luck could make a person successful, especially in the industry. There were too many people who worked hard, but too few of them were lucky. Mr. Su, do you mean that I'm not as good as them because my luck is better than theirs? Jin Hanbang's face was a little ugly. Almost. Su Yun admitted it directly. At least in my opinion, your personal performance is far inferior to theirs. Jin Hanbang was a little angry. Then you don't see my efforts at all. So you don't have the right to say that? Do you want to fall out with me? Su Yun glanced at Jin Hanbang. Don't forget your identity. Jin Hanbang suddenly choked up. I know that you have a few endorsements in Huaxia, so you have a certain amount of exposure in Huaxia. So you must be thinking that since I have exposure in Huaxia, it won't be easy for you to ban me, right? Su Yun smiled. Let's make a bet? Bet on what? Jin Hanbang looked a little nervous. It's simple. I'll make a call now, and I'll make a call. Within 3 days, all the advertisements on Huaxia's television stations and online platforms will no longer have your shadow. Even the admission ticket to Huaxia's movies, TV series, and variety shows will become a piece of waste paper. When Su Yun said this, there was a calm smile on his face. It was completely talking about a very simple thing. The atmosphere in the whole room suddenly became tense. Jin Hanbang's slightly open mouth couldn't be closed. He couldn't believe that just moving out would cause Su Yun to make such a big fuss. Wasn't this a bit too much? Song Jiji's face was even more ugly. He was an agent. If Jin Hanbang couldn't make money, then he would starve to death. President Su, this joke is a bit too much. Jin Hanbang said carefully. Su Yun didn't mean to laugh it off. I'm not joking. It's just a bet. Do you dare to take it? There's no need for this. Jin Hanbang tried to make his voice sound less awkward. I'm afraid that President Su will use too many connections. It's really inappropriate. I'm not afraid. Su Yun shook his head without any burden at all. Didn't I say that I'll just make a call? Jin Hanbang couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. To be honest, at this moment, he was really scared. The fear and timidity came from the bottom of his heart. I think that since you believe that you're so popular, you should have this confidence. Su Yun provoked. Jin Hanbang was really a little arrogant at this moment. He even thought that maybe because of his fame, Su Yun couldn't make others ban him at all. Purely speaking, the advertisers had spent so much money to get him to endorse, but they wanted to cancel all his advertisements. Wouldn't that be a waste of money? Wouldn't he get no profit at all? After all, no matter whether the advertisers made advertisements with Jin Hanbang's image to the public or not, the advertising fees would definitely not be refunded. Therefore, Jin Hanbang really had a little confidence that he might be able to defeat Su Yun. However, Song Jiji interrupted Jin Hanbang's idea in time. President Su's power is certainly a matter of a few words. We certainly don't dare to make a bet with President Su. Haha, President Su, don't joke and scare our Bang Bang. He is too serious and will easily believe it. Jin Hanbang was a little angry when he heard Song Jiji's words. But Song Jiji had already said it. What could he do? Since he likes to be serious, let's make a serious bet. Isn't that a good thing? Su Yun deliberately made himself seem a little aggressive. Well, if President Su is not afraid of losing too much money, I don't care. Jin Honbang was really a little angry. Ever since he became famous, no one had dared to be so aggressive towards him, even if they were at the level of a CEO. Because he was popular, he was a money tree no matter where he was. Everyone wanted a money tree. Jin Honbang firmly believed that. Su Yun nodded. Okay, I'll make a call now. No. President Su, don't be impulsive. He is just joking with you. Song Jiji almost knelt down in front of Su Yun. If he made a call, Jin Honbang and Song Jiji would die. How could Su Yun lose anything? With Su Yun's status and influence, he only needed to arrange several A-list stars to find investors for the endorsement of the products that Jin Honbang endorsed. Even if it was just to give him face, his actors wouldn't talk about money. It was just a photo and a short video. It was not a big deal. Therefore, Su Yun was confident and capable that he could do it. This was what Song Jiji was afraid of, because Song Jiji knew the rules. Jin Honbang was a foolish and arrogant little frog. There were many artists who were more influential than him in the Chanyu group, and many of them had more endorsement fees than him. Therefore, if Su Yun wanted to remove all of Jin Honbang's exposure, it was really only a matter of a phone call. I don't think he is, Su Yun said. Song Jiji ran directly to Jin Honbang's ear and briefly explained the pros and cons. He told Jin Honbang to admit defeat and not to cause a huge loss because of his impulsiveness. President Su, I was just joking. Jin Honbang hadn't felt this kind of humiliation in a long time. Su Yun smiled slightly. Joking? So, you still expect me to give you a way out? Now you know you are relying on me to make a living? Su Yun was the kind of person who would do things step by step, and his words were more and more unpleasant. He just wanted Jin Honbang to suffer slowly. If he drugged him too much at the beginning, Jin Honbang might not be able to bear it and explode regardless of the consequences. Then, Jin Honbang would not be able to experience the psychological destruction and torture. Jin Honbang smiled unnaturally. Of course, in Huaxia, I rely on you, President Su. Now you know who gave you the begging bowl in front of you? Su Yun put on a straight face. Weren't you quite arrogant just now? I don't appreciate people without backbone. I was just joking. Jin Honbang tried his best to suppress his grievance. Because Song Jiji told him with certainty that the person in front of him had the ability to ban him in the Huaxia market. As long as he was banned by the Huaxia market, he would have no way to survive in China. The company would not treat a guy who was banned by Huaxia as a treasure. Korea's market was only so big. If they went to the European and American markets, they would be at a disadvantage. There was no way to earn too much money. Huaxia was the best market for Korea entertainment to earn money. Therefore, as long as a person was doing well in China, they would be treated as a treasure in the company. As long as he couldn't survive in the Huaxia market, no matter how much recognition he got in Korea, he would not be treated as a treasure by the company. This was the reality of an artist. This was the foundation that Jin Honbang couldn't break away from no matter how popular he was. Without the company's promotion, he had nothing, so he needed the Huaxia market. Chapter 3367. Song Jiji immediately put on a humble expression and asked cautiously in Su Yun's ear, Mr. Su, would you like some coffee? What time is it now? You want me to drink coffee? You don't want me to sleep, do you? Su Yun didn't want to talk to Song Jiji. If an artist can't straighten out his attitude, it has a lot to do with his agent. Song Jiji retreated to the side and did not dare to speak again. Su Yun's words hit the nail on the head. The reason why Jin Honbang kept saying, I'm very popular, was completely because of Song Jiji's influence. Since the beginning of Jin Honbang's popularity, Song Jiji would always tell the other party, our Bang Bang is very popular, and there are many people who want to cooperate with us. It was this attitude that led to Jin Honbang's arrogance. At the beginning, when the first media tried to contact him for an interview, Song Ji said this. It made Jin Hanbang really think that he had many choices and was very popular. Therefore, Jin Hanbang's attitude changed fundamentally. He changed from a lowly trainee, a small artist who always used honorifics, to a superstar today. The process was really fast. It could even be said that it was in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, everything became what it was today. Jin Hanbang himself couldn't find his original intention. He didn't remember the modesty and carefulness he had when he first went on a variety show in Korea. Now, he didn't want to go on any variety show in Korea. The pay was low and the exposure was just as low. It didn't matter to him at all. Mr. Su, I can move back to the hotel tomorrow. Jin Hanbang gave in to Su Yun. Unfortunately, Su Yun didn't want this. I don't care where you live. It has nothing to do with me. If you don't live in Sky Entertainment Group, I can reduce the cost. It's good for you to live here. Jin Hanbang was put in a difficult position by Su Yun's words. Song Ji was so anxious that his forehead was sweating. With so many people in this hotel, it would cost 50 to 60,000 RMB a day. To be honest, Jin Hanbang's arrogant move was actually a demonstration. He felt that once he did so, Sky Entertainment Group would immediately prepare a presidential suite for him instead of letting him stay in an ordinary suite like everyone else. However, he didn't expect that not only did he fail to achieve his goal, he didn't even get an ordinary suite. How could Jin Hanbang not panic? The company said that he would be in Huaxia for about a month. If he had to fork out 1 or 2 million yuan just for accommodation, he would definitely cry. It's your freedom to live here, but you'd better not cause any trouble for Sky Entertainment, Su Yun said. Jin Hanbang could only nod his head obediently. I won't cause any trouble for Sky Entertainment. Don't you feel guilty at all when you say that? Su Yun's voice suddenly became sharp. Do you really want me to expose the whole thing before you are willing to admit it? Jin Hanbang was confused. What do you mean, Mr. Su? Su Yun didn't say anything. He just stared at Jin Hanbang coldly. Jin Hanbang was scared by Su Yun's stare. Mr. Su, I really don't understand what you mean. What did I do? Don't you know what you did? Su Yun saw Jin Hanbang's reaction and knew that this guy must have used all kinds of excuses to sleep with all kinds of fans. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken today's matter so lightly. Those who use dating as an excuse to sleep with fans are not honorable things. Su Yun's face became more and more ugly. Jin Hanbang's heart suddenly thumped. He was very surprised. How did Su Yun know what happened to him today? Mr. Su, I really don't know what you're talking about. Jin Hanbang decided to bite the bullet and deny it. Song Ji's face changed. This was really disgraceful. He was the one who found this fan for Jin Hanbang. As a qualified agent, Song Ji had an important task in addition to his normal work every day, which was to help Jin Hanbang find high-quality fans on various software. These so-called high-quality fans actually only looked at two things, face and body. Since Jin Hanbang became popular, he became a veritable fungus harvester. He almost every 3 to 5 days asked Song Ji to find him such brainless fans. Of course, Jin Hanbang would use some sweet words to trick people. There were many brainless fans who took the initiative to send themselves to him. In Jin Hanbang's eyes, this was not cheating, but a kind of benefit given to fans. He didn't care about the consequences. As long as it was selected by Song Ji, he would ask anyone he liked. He didn't care about the identity or age of the person. Among the fans he harvested, there were underage students and young women who had already become mothers. He was willing to try all kinds of tastes. In order to satisfy his special hobby, he even crazily asked pregnant women. In the final analysis, Jin Hanbang wanted to make up for the stimulation he had suffered. He was also taking revenge in disguise. Because before he became popular, he had a girlfriend who was deeply in love with him. As a result, his girlfriend was deceived by a very popular senior at that time. The reason was very simple, which was that he could help her debut and become an artist. He deceived her with such an unreliable reason. Moreover, the senior used this excuse to let many people sleep with his girlfriend. Jin Han Bang saw this in his girlfriend's suicide note. Yes, the girl finally committed suicide. That was because she was often asked by that senior to entertain some socialites. Once, after that senior invited a certain director to play golf, he ordered her to accompany the director to a nightclub for drinks. In the end, the director even asked her to sleep with him. In the past few years that this girl had been dating Jin Hanbang, she had actually been used by that senior to provide sex services thousands of times to dozens of men in various large enterprises, various financial institutions, various performing arts and planning companies, as well as senior executives of news media, and so on. When all this was learned by Jin Hanbang almost collapsed. But in the end, he persisted. He swore that he would become popular. Then he accepted all kinds of unspoken rules, accepted all kinds of humiliation, and endured all kinds of hardships. Finally, he became popular. The first thing he did was to use his power at the moment to suppress the senior who had ruined his girlfriend. He also used his relationship with the media to expose all the scandals of the senior. The senior who was once popular and didn't take Jin Hanbang seriously had now been reduced to washing dishes and mopping the floor in a small hotel. All this was because Jin Hanbang became popular. Jin Hanbang realized the powerful power of being popular and began to step on the road of no return step by step. He became the same person as the senior and began to use his fame to deceive ignorant girls. Jin Hanbang actually had the idea of spreading the heinous deeds of the previous senior. He had even begun to cultivate his own harem. He had recorded down all the obedient girls who could be manipulated by him. Perhaps he could make use of them in the future. He could use these girls to expand his territory and solve his problems. Back then, that senior used Jin Hanbang's girlfriend to do these things. Jin Hanbang had learned all of these. Even though he knew how shameful this behavior was, he still did it without any scruples. Humans were such dangerous animals. Once one foot stepped into the abyss, for the sake of excitement, he would still choose to put the other foot in, and then let the whole person fall deeper and deeper. I thought that although you were a bastard, you wouldn't be afraid to admit what you did. Su Yun disdainfully said, "It seems that I was wrong. Coward, you dare to do it but don't dare to admit it, right? Well, it doesn't matter. The surveillance of the hotel must have recorded it." Hearing Su Yun's words, Jin Hanbang knew that he couldn't hide it anymore. It was meaningless to continue to pretend. "Boss Su, fans did come to me. I'm an idol. I won't refuse when others ask to see me. That's too pretentious. What you said is quite contradictory." Su Yun said, "Boss Ruan has already told me that you refuse to attend a fan meeting tomorrow. I didn't expect you to be so active in private." Chapter 3368. Seeing that Su Yun was about to turn hostile, Song Jiji could only bite the bullet and come forward to explain. "Mr. Su, there is a misunderstanding. It's not what you think." "Are you crazy?" Su Yun glanced at Song Jiji. "Why do you have to get involved at this time? Do you feel uncomfortable if you don't get scolded?" I just want to explain." Song Jiji said awkwardly, "I don't mean anything else. I don't care what position your agent has in Korea, but I hate agents who make decisions for their artists. Su Yun, he's a normal person. If there's anything to explain, let him explain it to me." Song Jiji had no choice but to glance at Jin Hanbang, as if to remind him not to talk nonsense. "It's just that a fan wanted to see me. She was too enthusiastic, so I didn't refuse." Jin Hanbang said, "I let her come, but everything was safe. I didn't let anyone know. I think this is the best protection. My reputation won't be affected." Su Yun sneered. He was really angry. At this time, Jin Hanbang was still thinking about his reputation. How ridiculous. "Do you still want reputation?" Su Yun said disdainfully, "What reputation does a person who uses his identity to deceive his fans have?" "Mr. Su, don't talk nonsense without evidence. Jin Honbang was a little nervous. This will damage my reputation. A straight foot is not afraid of a crooked shadow. If you didn't do it, what can others say? Su Yun said, you should know better than anyone what you've done. I don't want to waste my breath on you. You have to give me an explanation for what happened today. Jin Honbong's forehead was already sweating. Mr. Su, I'm afraid this is my private life. I don't need to give you an explanation, right? Your private life, but it affects others. There is a problem. Su Yun, I'll give you a choice. You can come with me to explain things clearly, admit your mistake, and apologize. Or I can call the police and let the police investigate to see if your behavior is suspected of fraud. These words were like a stick, directly hitting Jin Honbong's head. President Su, this shouldn't constitute a crime, right? Song Jiji was also afraid. If Kim Honbang was labeled as a criminal, then his life would really be ruined. This is all consensual. You admit it. Su Yun glanced at Song Jiji. What does this have to do with you? No. Nothing. Nothing at all. I just want to say that simple deception is not a crime. Song Jiji was obviously panicking. He didn't have time to think about what he was saying. This is just a moral issue. Su Yun no longer paid attention to Song Jiji. Instead, his eyes fell on Jin Honbang. Jin Honbang had completely lost his temper with Song Jiji. This bastard had already admitted to everything. What else did he have to explain? I quit because my fans were too passionate, and we had some intimate actions. Jin Honbang nodded. But this is my privacy. I'm afraid it's inappropriate for you to threaten me with my privacy. The fans who had some intimate actions with you now want to commit suicide. Does this matter have something to do with you? Su Yun said coldly. Jin Honbang was stunned. At this moment, he seemed to realize that he seemed to have gotten into trouble. I don't want to talk too much nonsense with you, Su Yun. But this matter is caused by you, so you have to solve it for me. The matter between you is indeed consensual, and I have no right to intervene. But if someone wants to commit suicide because of you, this matter still needs to be dealt with by you. Jin Honbang panicked. How can I deal with it? I didn't know this would happen. That's your problem. Su Yun, I only give you two choices. One is to come with me to explain things clearly and appease people. The second is to let the police file a case. Whether you are criminally responsible for this matter or not, you have no moral bottom line. We will explain it to you. Song Jiji didn't give Jin Honbang time to think at all. He directly made the decision for him to agree to Su Yun. This matter could be solved in private. If it caused an uproar, how could Jin Honbang continue to live in the future? Until this moment, Song Jiji still didn't understand Su Yun's thoughts. They were still confident that as a money tree, they wouldn't be really killed by Su Yun. Although Jin Honbang didn't know how to explain, he could only agree to Su Yun's request. Su Yun and Shi Lei asked them to go with them now, but Jin Honbang actually made a ridiculous request. Then at least give me an hour to the stylist to help me deal with it, right? Your idle burden is really heavy. Su Yun, I'll only give you a minute to put on your clothes. If you don't come downstairs in a minute, you don't need to explain. You can explain it to the police. Su Yun finished and left without looking back. Jin Honbang didn't dare to think too much. He quickly got up, put on his clothes and shoes, and ran out. At this time, he didn't care about his image. When Su Yun and Shi Lei brought him to Chao Fei's brother's house, Chao Fei slapped him without saying anything. He didn't care whether he was an idol or not. If he hurt his daughter in this matter, it was unforgivable. This slap made Jin Honbang see stars. Jin Honbang was about to go crazy on the spot. Song Jiji was also panicked. He was really worried that Jin Honbang's image would be damaged. If this slap damaged his face, how could he make a living in the future? The result was indeed heart-wrenching. Even Chao Fei, who was hitting him, was stunned. This guy's chin was actually crooked from his slap. Song Jiji's heart instantly jumped to his throat. If a person who relied on his face to make a living was found to have plastic surgery, it would be the most serious thing to lose fans. Crazy, really crazy. Song Jiji quickly stepped forward and blocked Jin Hanbang behind him. He shouted, "What are you doing? This is violence. I want to call the police. You can't do this kind of thing. We are here to apologize. You can't hit people." Song Jiji was really scared. Once Jin Hanbang's face was damaged, it would be difficult to recover. Even if it was the same doctor, with the same scalpel, it was impossible to make the same work. With Jin Hanbang's current popularity, if his chin was a little wider or narrower, people would use it to talk about it. Therefore, Song Jiji was really scared. He would rather let people hit him now than let people hit Jin Hanbang. Jin Hanbang also trembled. He could clearly feel that the filler in his chin was offset. Originally, Chao Fei's daughter was angry because her father hit her idol. But when she saw the distorted face, which was completely different from the person she knew, she suddenly fell silent. At this moment, as a die-hard fan, she suddenly realized why she had to give up everything for such a hypocritical person without any complaints. She suddenly couldn't find a reason. She couldn't find a person who unconditionally loved a person whose face was fake. What was so good about such a person for her to worship? There were so many excellent idols in Huaxia. Why would she worship a person who deceived her? You are all unruly people. Jin Hanbang suddenly exploded. Even Su Yun didn't expect that this guy would suddenly shout such a sentence. You are all bastards. You are all crazy. What qualifications do you have to make me apologize to you? Stupid, brainless people. Jin Hanbang stared at Chao Fei and his daughter fiercely. You brainless fans of Huaxia are just tools for me to make money. Tools for me to use. You want me to apologize to you? No way. You deserve to die. Even if you jump off a building today, it has nothing to do with me. Jin Hanbang suffered the biggest blow in his life because of his disfigurement. His outburst was understandable. After all, the thing he cared about most was destroyed. It would be strange if he wasn't angry. At this moment, Chao Fei had the impulse to kill someone. If his daughter really committed suicide because of such a bastard, he swore that he would kill this bastard with his own hands. Manager Su, I have thought it through. I won't commit suicide because of such a scumbag. Chao Fei's daughter suddenly spoke to Su Yun. I also don't need his apology. Because for people like him, even if he apologizes, it will be hypocritical and meaningless. Su Yun smiled at the girl. Your father must be very pleased that you think this way. How can a scumbag grow up without experiencing it? This is a lesson for me. The girl said lightly. I don't regret it. I will take it as a warning. Chapter 3369. Brother Chao Fei, you have such a smart daughter. You don't have to worry about her. Su Yun smiled. She understands it herself. That's more important than anything else. Chao Fei was so emotional that he started crying. Su Yun knew that they didn't need Kim Hanbong's apology anymore. Hypocritical apologies were meaningless. This girl didn't need them anymore. Su Yun looked back at Jin Hanbang and Song Jiji and said casually, Why are you two still here? Do you really want to stay and be beaten? Song Jiji was a little confused. He had already prepared an apology for Kim Hanbang on the way here. But they were asked to leave without saying a word? At this moment, they really felt like they had been made a fool of. But the person who made a fool of them was Su Yun. They could only choose to swallow their anger. This was the most depressing thing. They hit me and were just going to let it go like this? Kim Hanbang couldn't take it lying down. Mr. Su, you know very well that I'm an idol. What do I do for a living? Now he slapped my face. Does he know how much my face is worth? Su Yun looked at the gold Korean stick and said, I'll give you 20,000 yuan for double eyelids, eyelid surgery, eyebrow removal, and eye bags removal. I'll give you 20,000 yuan for the nose augmentation, nose tip reshaping, and nose ala reshaping. I'll give you 30,000 yuan for the jawline reshaping, cheekbone reshaping, masita correction, apple enhancement, and dimple reconstruction. I'll also give you 30,000 yuan for the cleft lip and palate repair, abdominal liposuction, and O-leg correction. Kim Honbang felt like his lungs were about to explode. My chin implant costs 40,000. This is collagen implant. Sorry, I don't know much about plastic surgery. Su Yun said, if you want to settle the bill, go to Sky Entertainment Group's accountant and bring the invoice for your jaw surgery to them for reimbursement. I'll give them a call and they'll definitely reimburse you immediately. This isn't about money. Kim Honbang was furious. My face is just insurance. It's 1 billion won. Then go to the insurance company. Su Yun was a little impatient. Don't be so shameless. It's just a tilted chin now. If you talk more nonsense, your nose might collapse. As he spoke, Su Yun's face darkened. If Su Yun had punched him, his fake nose would have been destroyed, but he would have definitely made a profit from the insurance. By the way, your face is a result of plastic surgery. The insurance company might not be able to cover it, right? Su Yun seemed to have thought of something. If it turns out to be fake, I'm afraid you won't be able to get your 1 billion won. The Jinhan stick was on the verge of collapse. Song Jiji could see that Su Yun was determined to teach Jin Honbang a lesson. Now, it was useless for Jin Honbang to say anything. It would only add to his troubles. Moreover, he wasn't calm now. If he said something that offended someone, it would be even more troublesome. Therefore, he might as well endure everything for now. When he calmed down later, he would talk to Su Yun. Today's situation was definitely disadvantageous to them, and they had no one to reason with. The other party had Su Yun, who was a big shot, as a deterrent. Let's go back. If there's anything, we can talk about it when we get back. Today is not a good time. You need to calm down. Song Jiji stopped Jin Honbang. Jin Honbang was furious. But I still have a fan meeting tomorrow. How can I meet people like this? I still have to participate in Hua Xia's most popular reality show. How can I participate in this? It's okay. Ms. Ruan said you weren't interested in the fan meeting. I've already told her not to arrange it and cancel it. You don't have to worry, Su Yun said calmly. As for the reality show, who told you about it? Manager Bai from the hotel said it, Song Jiji said. She's now our professional manager in Hua Xia. You dare to believe her words? Su Yun was speechless. She's in charge of managing hotels in Tianyu Group. When has she ever managed an artist? You've been fooled by her. Don't worry, there won't be any reality show asking you to participate in it. Song Jiji's brain was really muddled. Jin Honbang also began to realize that something was wrong. Go back to the hotel and have a good rest. Su Yun, because of your crooked chin, I'll protect you well. I won't let you appear in front of any media or public. Don't worry about it. Jin Honbang panicked, and his temper disappeared in an instant. Could it be that the ban had already begun? Mr. Su, what are you doing? Song Jiji stuttered. We can talk about it. This is someone else's home, not a workplace. Su Yun glared at Song Jiji in annoyance. You're not guests here. If I tell you to leave, then hurry up and leave. Don't be so annoying, okay? Song Jiji couldn't say a word. He could only bow his head and pull Jin Honbang out first. Of course, Jin Honbang didn't want to. Even if he wanted to ban him, he had to give him a reason. He had listened to Su Yun's arrangement. Why did he have to ban him? He had come to apologize, but the other party didn't listen. Moreover, he was hit on the chin. Go out first. Let's go out first. I'm here. Song Jiji comforted Jin Honbang and carefully left. Shirley slammed the door. He didn't mean to leave any face for the two. Jin Hanbang was angry and wanted to kick the door, but his raised foot was stopped by Song Jiji. The foot kicked directly on Song Jiji's stomach. Song Jiji didn't fall down even after being kicked. He endured the pain and said, "You can't kick it. Once you kick the door, your life will be completely ruined. He is already going to ban me. What else do I have to worry about?" Jin Hanbang's anger was difficult to hide. "There is still a chance to turn things around with me here. I will help you deal with things. I will deal with it." Song Jiji straightened up in pain. "Now is the time when you need to be patient. You must be patient. Don't waste my efforts. I beg you, okay?" Jin Hanbang was a little desperate. It has come to this point. What else is there to say? Although he asked us to leave, he will come out in a while. Let's go to the car and wait for him. I believe that as long as we are sincere enough, there will be a chance to turn things around, Song Jiji said. Jin Hanbang frowned. There is a chance to turn things around? Of course, there is a chance, but the premise is that you have to be humble, humble, and humble. Put yourself in the lowest position. You must not be arrogant. Song Jiji said, "You have to speak respectfully. Do you understand? He is Su Yun, President Su of Sky Entertainment Group. You have to respect him. You have to say, you respectfully, not you. Do you understand?" Jin Hanbang took a deep breath and nodded. He could do that. Think about when you first debuted. At that time, didn't you have to bow and bend your knees to everyone? Song Jiji said, even if your seniors went overboard, you still had to smile apologetically. You have to find that feeling. Remember President Su's identity. Jin Hanbang's face darkened again. That year, that predecessor slept with his girlfriend, and he still smiled. This was the biggest shadow in his life. When Song Jiji finished this sentence, Jin Hanbang really felt that he was a green turtle being mocked by him. I know it must be a bad feeling, but you have no choice. Do you understand? Song Jiji said, if you are banned by Su Yun, you will lose the entire Huaxia market. You know the consequences. Both of us are finished. Jin Hanbang gritted his teeth. He really didn't expect that he would have to ask for help one day. Especially in Huaxia. In Huaxia, all the advertisers and producers begged him. Because he was popular. He was popular. I know you must be unwilling to accept it. No one is willing to accept it. Song Jiji said seriously, but if you can't bear this humiliation, you will have no chance to turn over. This is related to your whole future. Jin Hanbang took a few deep breaths to calm himself down completely. He went to Su Yun's car with Song Jiji and waited. After Su Yun and Chao Fei spoke a few words, they prepared to leave. Shirley also wanted to leave, but he was stopped by Chao Fei. This was because Chao Fei still had some lingering fear in his heart. He needed an old buddy to accompany him for a drink to calm his nerves. He was embarrassed to ask Su Yun to stay. It was already very troublesome to ask Su Yun to come here at night. He felt very embarrassed. Chapter 3370. Su Yun was also a little embarrassed by Chao Fei and his family's politeness. He hurriedly said goodbye and prepared to go home. To be honest, Su Yun's current situation was that he did not obediently stay at home and meddle in other people's business. He would definitely be questioned by Zhua Meiyan. After all, he was too much of a hands-off shopkeeper. If Su Yun was willing to be a hands-off shopkeeper, Zhua Meiyan would never force him to do anything. She just hoped that Su Yun could leave the little time for them. After all, there were so many of them, and they had to share this little bit of time. Therefore, the time that Su Yun could spend with them was really precious to them. As a result, when Zhua Meiyan and Qiu Yan returned home and learned that Su Yun was back, they were very unhappy that he immediately went to find Shirley to meddle in other people's business. It was not that Su Yun did not want to do this. He knew Zhua Meiyan, so after leaving Chao Fei's house, he wanted to quickly go back and explain things to Zhua Meiyan so that she would not be unhappy. However, when Su Yun came to the parking lot, he saw Jin Hanbang and Song Jiji, who had been waiting for him respectfully. The two of them standing there really made people feel awkward. "Why haven't you left yet? It's meaningless to waste time here with me." Su Yun said, "Let's quickly find a plastic surgery hospital to take a look. There are quite a number of plastic surgery hospitals on Qingdao. There's Jimei, Nord, Imel, Sino-Korea. They usually advertise quite well. I believe the plastic surgery industry is quite profitable." Jin Hanbang knew that Su Yun was deliberately mocking him, but at this time, he still chose to endure. "By the way, you must be done by a big hospital, right?" Su Yun did not give them a chance to say anything else. "Looking at your situation now, the big hospitals can only do this much. With this level of standard, they boast that it's much better than Huaxia surgery. They can even persuade hundreds of thousands of people to go there every year. Boss Su, we actually want to apologize to you." Song Jiji wanted to change the topic. "Listen to me first." Su Yun waved his hand and said, "I heard that there is a plastic surgery center in Outing. There are hundreds of plastic surgery and beauty agencies." Song Jiji was stunned. Jin Hanbang didn't know how to answer. "Why are you guys so nervous? I'm just trying to find out more about it. A while ago, one of our artists secretly went for plastic surgery. Su Yun. She found an intermediary in Huaxia. Later, I heard that she was tricked by the intermediary and brought to the designated hospital for cooperation. She was charged nearly 400,000 yuan, but in the end, she only needed 150,000 yuan to do it herself." Jin Hanbang was stunned for a moment. This is Huaxia's money earned from you Huaxia." Song Jiji also hurriedly expressed this point. The Korean government supports the development of the medical tourism industry. Some Chinese illegal translators don't care about the results of the surgery and only know how to push customers to small outpatient clinics. They even claim that it's a hospital that we Koreans like to visit. That's why they've made a lot of money. Are you saying that it's the Huaxia people who cheated the Huaxia people? From what you're saying, it seems like you look down on these Huaxia people." Su Yun said indifferently. No, it's not that I look down on them. I just think that those illegal translators have gone too far. It's because of their existence that so many plastic surgery accidents have happened, and the reputation of our Korean plastic surgery agencies has been damaged." Song Jiji continued to explain to his country. Su Yun nodded. "Those bastards who cheat their fellow countrymen are indeed despicable, but aren't the surgeries done in your country? Your country knows that some plastic surgery agencies are unreliable, so why don't you close them down? Isn't it because these unreliable plastic surgery agencies can still pay a lot of taxes every year? More importantly, Koreans wouldn't go to unreliable small organizations for plastic surgery. These small organizations relied on outsiders to take care of their business. Not only Huaxia people, but there were also people from other countries in Asia. Every year, there was a considerable number of them. And this number was doubling every year. It should be known that there were more and more Huaxia women who were superstitious about this. Just look at the current situation. There were more and more people who wanted to easily earn big money, causing a new industry to appear in Huaxia. This industry was called Internet Celebrity. This industry didn't require any education, ability, or culture. It didn't require any inner qualities. It only needed to have an internet celebrity face and a rather impressive figure. They could earn money by showing their cleavage and legs beautifully. This was how it was. Take Shredder's internet celebrity program for example. What kind of level were the people in it? It was difficult for their IQ to exceed 100. What else could they do other than act? Shredder couldn't be blamed. He was just playing with these kinds of girls. He couldn't even think about marriage. The reason was very simple. What did those girls know? To be able to do a split was already considered to be a genius. Please, it was just a split. Knowing how to do a split was nothing more than unlocking a few more positions. Talent and ability weren't just good at it. This didn't just mean that female internet celebrities didn't have inner qualities. Those male internet celebrities didn't have any culture either. What did they know? Other than their mouths being unreliable all day long, leading all the good flowers of the country astray and affecting them badly, what other contributions did they make? Just those guys who only knew how to flirt all day long. Their mouths were full of obscenities, and they even claimed that they were green streamers. It was unknown if the leaders of the relevant departments had received bribes or if their brains had been filled with sh*t. They actually didn't ask about this kind of thing and didn't even have any intention of restricting it. Even if the entire internet was polluted now, there were more and more people who wanted to reap without sowing. Regardless of gender, they all wanted to become internet celebrities. This led to more and more people going to Korea for plastic surgery. When they saw that mass-produced faces could easily earn money just by live streaming and taking photos, children who had yet to come into contact with society and whose outlook on life and values had yet to be perfectly formed were easily led astray. How many 15 or 16-year-olds fantasized about becoming internet celebrities? There were plenty of them. Not to mention the children who hadn't been shaped by their university's outlook on life and values, who hadn't been through the various trials and tribulations of society. Even many people who were already in their 30s would fantasize about having a chance. After all, many internet celebrities weren't young anymore. As long as they did some plastic surgery and pretended to look good, it should be easy to cheat money out of the hands of fans and children. As for whether it was the internet celebrities who catalyzed the plastic surgery industry, or the plastic surgery industry that made the internet celebrities grow stronger, perhaps this was the question of the chicken and the egg. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? No matter what, it made sense. But one thing was for sure. The egg was definitely not a mutated object that was laid by a dinosaur. Although the plastic surgery industry was very popular now, Soo-yoon still wanted to use the female artist under Sky Entertainment Group as an example to tell those who had ideas not to step on the pirate ship. Sky Entertainment Group's artist wasn't just cheated of money for plastic surgery. She also had an accident. Now, her entire face was basically disfigured. It was basically impossible for her to appear on the screen in the future. There was no way to recover it. Her entire face had completely collapsed. This kind of situation was really common in Hua-sia. Why didn't the person who did the surgery think about it from the beginning? This was about the face. If there was still a chance to take a look, why take the risk? The risk wasn't a small matter. This was a matter of life and death. If they failed, they would lose their face forever. Unless it was really the kind of face that existed like a placenta. In that case, it really didn't matter. Even if they failed, it wouldn't be worse than it was now. So be it. Anyway, God was already so unfair. They probably couldn't do anything else. After all, it was very difficult for consumers to defend their rights after failed plastic surgery. And this small problem was only the tip of the iceberg in the chaos caused by the plastic surgery chain. It was not a big deal at all. Looking at you, I'm afraid you don't know the secrets of the plastic surgery industry? Soo-yoon looked at Jin Hanbang's chin and felt that it was a pity. Jin Hanbang was stunned for a moment. What secrets? The proliferation of third-rate products and the normal practice of using shoddy products. Fake experts are in charge, but in reality, they are illegally practicing medicine. Soo-yoon smiled slightly. If you still want to continue to develop in this industry, then think of a way to fix your face first. I don't have time to chat with you. After saying that, Soo-yoon directly opened the door and got into the car. No matter what Song Ji-ji said outside the car, Soo-yoon ignored him and stepped on the accelerator. Chapter 3371. After Zhua Meiyan and Cho Yen returned home, they had been waiting for Soo-yoon to come back and flip out. This guy was too stupid. He had been out for so long and had only just returned. He had actually run out without even making a call. What could be more important than seeing them? He was really too much of a bastard. Soo-yoon, who was unaware of the situation, had returned home. Before he could say anything, he was swept away by a storm. Have you been having too much fun outside recently? Have you found the feeling of freedom again? Zhua Meiyan had started the moment Su Yun pushed the door open. I heard you went out to study Lei Feng again? In a small place like Qingdao, is there anything that Brother Shi Lei can't handle that needs Comrade Su Yun's help? Su Yun was stunned by Zhua Meiyan's words. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was very embarrassed. What? Did I say something wrong? Zhua Meiyan said. Is there really a problem that needs you to come out personally to solve? Meiyan, you're right about this. If I hadn't come out today, it wouldn't have worked. Su Yun wanted to explain. It's like this. Did I say you could speak? Zhua Meiyan directly interrupted Su Yun. Let me ask you. Even if you have something to do immediately after coming back, shouldn't you have called to let me know? Also, Qing Shuang and Xiao Yi are both at home. You just threw them out of the house. Is that appropriate? Isn't it because I have something to talk to Brother Lei about? Su Yun walked forward with a smile. He wanted to use his mischievous smile to dispel Zhua Meiyan's anger. In fact, he knew that Zhua Meiyan was just pretending. Su Yun had done many wrong things to Zhua Meiyan over the years. Zhua Meiyan had always been tolerant of him. She would only say a few words in a fit of anger. Because of these years of tolerance, Su Yun also had to understand Zhua Meiyan. Therefore, when she was angry, Su Yun would always be like a little kitten. If outsiders were to see this, they would definitely be dumbfounded. Even Dragon's Fury's brothers would find it hard to believe. After all, Su Yun's temper wasn't something that anyone would dare to provoke. In the entire Dragon Brigade, there were only 3 people who could point fingers at Su Yun: Wan Guangxiao, Wang Yi, and Yu Meiren. Of course, Yu Meiren had never lost a temper in front of Su Yun. There's no need for you to explain. I've heard about everything. Shi Lei will definitely be able to solve Chao Fei's problem. Zhua Meiyan said, as for your request for Shi Lei to teach Jin Hanbang a lesson, forget about it. It's easy to teach that kid a lesson. From now on, cut off all contact between him and Sky Entertainment Group. If he can last 2 days without coming to the company to beg us, I'll change my surname to Jin. Su Yun waved his hand. I really need to tell you all about this. The bastard who tricked Chao Fei's daughter into going to the hotel is this Jin Hanbang. His words caused a huge commotion. Even Zhua Meiyan couldn't help but be shocked. She forgot that she was going to continue teaching Su Yun a lesson. So that's why this bastard didn't stay at Sky Entertainment Group? Ruan Qingshuang said in disbelief. Bai Xiaoye was also shocked, asking a fan to go to a hotel to have sex. That's a big taboo for an artist. This guy is too bold. He's not just bold. He's so bold that he doesn't even know his surname anymore, Su Yun said, but right now, this guy probably wants to die. That's for sure. Seeing that the female fan he tricked is related to you, President Su, how can he not regret it? Zhua Meiyan said. Is he admitting his mistake now? Su Yun shook his head. Jin Hanbang is a very arrogant guy. He thinks that he's already so popular that even the entertainment company won't dare to touch him. They'll treat him like a treasure. He dares to act like a big shot in front of you? Ruan Qingshuang opened her mouth in disbelief. This guy is really unique. I'm afraid he can't act like that anymore. Su Yun, I took him to Chao Fei's house to apologize and explain the situation. But Chao Fei couldn't control his anger and punched Jin Hanbang's chin. Everyone was shocked. Since he's so careless after plastic surgery, he deserves it. Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue. Is it serious? He won't be crippled just like that, right? With the current technology and methods, he can be repaired. But I'm afraid he won't have a chance to appear on screen in the near future. Su Yun. Also, I want to ban him now. He's just an artist. How can he do something so immoral just because he has a lot of fans in Huaxia? What's the point of continuing to build him up? If he didn't have morals, he would really be crippled. Will Korea Company be willing? Ruan Qingshuang asked. This is also related to their interests. Their interests. Su Yun sneered. If they still want to use their artists to make profits in Huaxia, they won't dare to say no. Zhua Meiyan had completely forgotten that she wanted to teach Su Yun a lesson. I've always felt that it's necessary to give Korea a warning. Zhua Meiyan calmed down and said, Korean artists have become more and more arrogant after obtaining great success and benefits in Huaxia. Previously, I was afraid of hurting their face, so I asked them about it indirectly, but Korea never paid attention to it. Su Yun smiled. Everyone knows what Korea's people are thinking. Otherwise, their hosts wouldn't say things like, export Yuner to Huaxia, and this country can eat and drink well in the variety show. Zhua Meiyan's expression became serious, and she nodded. They're indeed too arrogant. That's why they're starting to become complacent. Ruan Qingshuang also said, this is indeed not a good phenomenon. Kim Hanbang is not an exception. There are too many artists in Korea who are acting like big shots in recent years. They threw reporters' cameras in anger, didn't turn off their phones and shouted at the stewardess on the plane, were late for signing by several hours, had to take a car for a distance of 100 meters, tampered with their scripts, dared to ask for money at a charity gala, stood the media up, threw tantrums, lip-synced, and even punched the audience. Zhua Meiyan was angry when she talked about this. Then we should put some pressure on Korea's entertainment industry. Su Yun. Let's use Kim Hanbang as an opportunity to make an example of them and let them realize the seriousness of artists acting like big shots. Only when it was easy to earn money would there be a phenomenon of acting like a big shot. Would the migrant workers who worked hard every day dare to act like a big shot? Had they heard of the street cleaners who had to wake up at 4 in the morning acting like a big shot? Would the migrant workers who squatted next to the computer every day dare to act like a big shot? Obviously, they didn't dare to, because they all knew how hard it was to earn money. Only when it was easy to earn money would they dare to act like a big shot. They didn't dare to say, reap without sowing, but at least this kind of work and income were completely disproportionate. Why did Shorty Guo dare to act like a big shot? Because the plagiarist little prince was now a big shot. One word he wrote could earn more than 100 words from the migrant workers. That was why he could act like a big shot. Of course, the migrant workers couldn't complain because of this. They could only blame themselves for not reading, inside the circle, carefully. Who knows, maybe even copying a word would be worth a lot of money now. Of course, most writers still had a bottom line, because plagiarism was plagiarizing the hard work of others. If they didn't understand such a simple principle and didn't have such basic morals, then how could they be writers? No matter what, writers used words to express their views on life and values, and it had an impact on the readers. If a writer was a person with no bottom line and no morals, then it would be a serious insult to the word writer. That was the concept of entertainment stars. As long as they became popular, no matter what kind of methods they used, whether it was underhanded hype or despicable unspoken rules, as long as they became popular, they would become popular. Because there would definitely be brainless fans who would shout, if you have the ability, you can copy now too. If you have the ability, you can become more popular than him. If you have the ability, you can also create hype. If you have the ability, you can also use unspoken rules. He couldn't help but sigh. The logic of a hooligan was the most terrifying logic. How do you want to make an example of them? We will fully cooperate with you. Zhua Meiyan said, I believe that with the connections and resources that Sky Entertainment Group has accumulated over the years, this small matter can be easily solved. Maybe we'll help others bear some losses. Su Yun, you don't mind, right? Zhua Meiyan rolled her eyes at Su Yun. Do you think I've never seen money before? Even if we have to ban the entire Korean entertainment industry, Sky Entertainment Group can still afford it. These words were so arrogant and domineering. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.